So we can do what's Hondo on the mic. From Leo's Paradise, random stream drop like a Dragon Ball fight. No lie, plan stream stacking up, but here's a twist in time. Freestyling on the deck like Luffy's punchlines. Up the channel's passing, Zoro sword swings. Game and pop culture, it's the chaos he brings. Talking movie reboots, superhero hype. Hondo passing the mic, now Bishop's in sight. Cutting punch clean, frame by frame, I align. Laying bass lines heavy, keep the rhythm divine. Dropping fire videos, can't keep up with the pace. Pass the mic back, Leo's leading the chase. Off the rails, no script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Playing a nod, Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. No script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. The rails, no script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life.
Finally, welcome back to the Countercast. How are all you vital idols doing? Today is wild. I mean, first of all, like always, we got gaming news, we got anime news, but your boy even gonna be covering some TV and movies, stuff I haven't done in a hot minute because, let's face it, everybody else does and it's kind of oversaturated, but this Warner Bros. Acquisition is wild. So yeah, obviously before we get into anything, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and let's see what vital idols we got up in this bitch. Oh, and of course, I need to turn on the chat. You guys need to be able to see what you're saying, proof that I'm reading it. There we go. There we go. Alrighty. Who we got up in this bitch? I see Valiant Goat, shout out. Philip Morgan's in the house. Faye Summer is here. Gal Carrimon, Grave 1383. We got Daxon, our best mod in the whole damn land. Zalozy up in this bitch. Butter framed in gold. Jeremy Hughes review. Golden Apple YT. CFH90, the OG cowboy from hell. Cell Deviancy. I hadn't seen you in a minute. How you doing, brother? Let's see. Who else we got? Dark Exile. Nice. I haven't seen you in a minute either. Shout out. My boy Paul, the IRL bestie. Paul, future over you. Janice Landers, Prodigal Rebel. Dude, first of all, shout out to the Bigot Army. Thank you so much, Hypno. Thanks, Hypno, for the raid. You're an absolute legend. Throw up some Hypno emojis in the chat if you're a member. If you're not a member, fuck you. Become a member. Then throw up some Hypno emojis in the chat. Scotty G up in this bitch. How you doing, Scotty? You love to see it. Alrighty, crew. Alrighty. Before we go into the content proper, I gotta regale y'all a little tale. A little bit of story time, right? Today is an auspicious day, because if you notice, your boy got some new drip, right? Got some new drip, repping that hedgehog lifestyle, because Grandma Paradise, bless her soul, greatest woman on planet Earth, she kept waiting for the mail all day, and an Amazon package gets here, and she's like, I need you to open it. I need you to open it right now. And I was like, okay, no idea what it is. Turns out she wanted to give me an early Christmas gift, and it's this dope-ass Sonic hoodie, so shout out Grandma Paradise, because I know you're watching. I appreciate you. Love you. You're an absolute legend. So, alrighty, crew. Let's get into some content proper. Let's get it out the way now. Resident Evil 9. Resident Evil 9, I'm glad I actually bothered to look into this in advance. Otherwise, this would have been a Spurg fest. Like, on its face, this news looks diabolically awful. Rose Winters is the second playable character in Resident Evil 9 accidentally revealed by GameStop. On the surface, like, bro, what are we doing? What are we doing? First of all, you told us that the Winters story was over. All right, you introduced this new character, Grace Ashcroft. Frankly, people don't even want her. She's got no real relation to Raccoon City. Why are you using her for the tail end of your series, allegedly? So yes, now you're just gonna throw in this random character from a DLC. However, let's look into this a bit further, right? Let's look into this a bit further. Resident Evil 9 leak reveals second playable character, and it's not Leon. Now, I'm gonna be real. I actually don't think there's cause for concern here. I don't actually think it's that big of a deal. And I'm going to explain to you guys why. So there is a caveat to this. A new Resident Evil Requiem leak has potentially revealed the game's second character, and believe it or not, it isn't Leon this time. I love to say this time, as if Leon's been the second character in a bunch of... Like, bro, we have not seen Leon canonically. We have not seen Leon canonically in terms of, like, the actual timeline since fucking Resident Evil 6. The game came out in 2012. Right? 2012? 2014? Something like that? Point is, it's been a fucking minute. What do you mean it's not Leon this time? We have not seen Leon chronologically in order since Resident Evil 6. We're on Resident Evil 9 now, and that's not including the smattering of, like, remakes and shit they put in there. So that's retarded. That's neither here nor there. Although Capcom hasn't confirmed anything yet with regards to the Resident Evil Requiem's full roster of playable characters, leaks and rumors all seem to point to there being 2 in the final game. The most popular theory, the one that seems to confirm, is that Leon Kennedy will be the second playable character in addition to Grace Ashcroft. Now, mind you, I don't even know that I want that. I'll be real. I don't even know that I want that. So, like, I get it. I'm a Leon fan. We all Leon fans. He's probably the most... I would imagine he's likely the most popular character in the franchise. But even so, if we're going back to Raccoon City, if we're talking about the history of Raccoon City, I actually think it should be Jill, not Leon. Now, I won't be upset if it's Leon. I won't be upset he's Spaghetti if it's Leon. He's my favorite character, he and Jill. But Jill has more ties to the city. That's where she's from. So she's born, raised, the whole nine. Leon got there a few days. He got there in the middle of the incident. Leon wasn't even from Raccoon City. So if we're talking about, like, the history of it, right? I don't even know that Leon's the one I would want. But that's not even here nor there. Whether or not the truth remains to be seen, given the Requiem will be returning to the ruins of Raccoon City, having a character closely associated with those games appear is a rather solid bet. However, it looks like U.S. retailer GameStop may have accidentally leaked the second playable character is actually Rose Winters from Resident Evil Village. No, not from Resident Evil Village. From the Resident Evil Village DLC that fucking sucked. Alright, the Resident Evil Village DLC that fucking sucked. It didn't add anything. It was completely unnecessary. Like, it's kind of a tragedy as to how bad that DLC and how bad that story and how bad that character was. And I say this, Resident Evil 8 was already garbage, dude. Resident Evil 8 was fucking garbage. I don't give a fuck how many of y'all like Dami Mommy, that Dami Vampire Mommy. Resident Evil 8 fucking sucked. It was not a good Resident Evil game. It may have been a passable action horror game, but it wasn't a good Resident Evil game. As posted to Gaming Leaks and Rumors Reddit page, one user discovered GameStop's listing for Resident Evil Requiem mentions a few cosmetic bonus items for Rosemary Winters that appear in the deluxe edition. The cosmetic appears are titled Morphic Visor Cosmetic Filter and the Shadow Walker Costume Pack and can be applied to Rosemary Winters in-game. Alright? Now, Leak also mentions the Sanctuary expansion pass, which includes 2 story expansions and a major update to Mercenaries mode. Bingo, bango, bongo. Here's why I don't actually think we need to worry. I'm gonna be real. I don't think we need to worry about the secondary character in the main campaign, assuming there is one, being Rose. I know that, like, we all want to jump on this, like, strong whammon thing and, like rag on the wokies, and don't get me wrong, I'm all for that. I love doing shit like that. It's your boy's bread and butter. But I don't think that's what this is, right? So for anyone that doesn't know their Resident Evil lore, this character, Rose, she came into the game. She came into Resident Evil 8 via a DLC that takes place in 2037. Yes, 2037. Which, by the way, I already don't like. I don't like it when you have these major time jumps in this game that ages chronologically in real time. Almost every single Resident Evil game is set either in the present or, like, the near future within a couple of years. Which is what Resident Evil 7's doing. Or Resident Evil 9, I mean. Resident Evil 9 is set in 2028. Alright, so 2028, you know, that's roughly 2 years from when the game will launch. The game launches in 2026. That's pretty consistent with what Resident Evil usually does. Guys, Rose was born in 2020. Like, the character of Rose was born on August 2nd, 2020. Okay, if she's born August 2nd, 2020, and she's leaked to be in the game that takes place in 2028. Yeah, she'd be 8 fucking years old, right? She'd be 8 years old, not the 17-year-old Rose we see here. So what this likely is a case that she will be a playable character in the Mercenaries mode, which is fine. I got no issues with that. Mercenary mode's got characters that weren't actually in the game, that didn't do anything in the story, all the time. Resident Evil 4 Mercenaries mode, you can play as Wesker and Hunk, dude. You can plays Wesker and Hunk. They really got nothing to do with Resident Evil 4. Like, Wesker does, but to a limited extent. Resident Evil 5 Mercenaries mode brought back characters from Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 0 that ain't been around in ages. There was a whole game just called Resident Evil The Mercenaries. Dude, Resident Evil 6, their Mercenaries mode, you can play as Left for fucking dead characters, right? You could play as Left for dead characters. So needless to say, if Rose is a playable character, and it's just because of the Mercenaries mode or some sort of extra mode, I got no problem with that, because we'll probably see a lot of characters. So, I say these comments, they're like, it's all so tiresome, right? Accidentally. Evelyn, fuck all that bullshit. Fuck Evelyn. Rose would be Rose would be a kid in the current time of Resident Evil 9, so now we got a few more days till the Game Awards for a new trailer. I hope we don't get a new trailer. We don't need another new trailer, dude. We got plenty of trailers. The trailers suck. We don't need any new trailers. They literally said the winter storyline was finished. Yes, they did say the winter storyline was finished. That's true. So yeah, all in all, obviously take all this with a healthy dose of skepticism. However, the fact that it was posted to GameStop does lend it some legitimacy, considering product listings are usually provided by the game's publisher. Not long after the listing was made, the description was later edited to remove references to Rose and the expansion pass. But there are some quite obvious holes here too. Rose would be around 7 or 8 years old by the time of Resident Evil Requiem, which takes place in 2028. It's unlikely she'll be playable as a child, but the game could always potentially flash forward to when she's older. That would be fucking retarded. It would. Why? We don't need this. The more we deal with Rose, the more we deal with the Winters family and whatnot, that just goes further and further from what supposedly the idea of Resident Evil Requiem, supposedly the idea is to be an end cap for the Raccoon City saga. Now that's already a ridiculous idea, because we had an end cap for the Raccoon City saga. It was called Resident Evil 5. We know when Jill and Sheva and Chris all took out Wesker, the guy that kind of made all the events of Resident Evil up to that point happen. So we don't even need Resident Evil Requiem to be what it is. It's purely nostalgia, cash grab, bait bullshit. But whatever, that's the route they're going. So if that's the route they're going, at least commit to that. And don't give us any of this like, oh, jumping into the future of 2037 when her DLC was. That DLC was garbage. The DLC was garbage. And I just, it bothers me, guys. I'm gonna be real. It truly does bother me. You guys didn't have to chat up here as well. I'm angry. If you guys hadn't noticed, I'm angry. So we struggle streaming right now. But we're back. Rose was a playable character in Resident Evil Village Shadows of Rose expansion, which takes place in 2037 after all. Village's ending also potentially hinted at Rose returning in the future installments, as teased by a mysterious figure approaching the vehicle she's in during the game's epilogue. I don't care. I'm gonna be real. I don't get that epilogue was retarded. A lot of people are like, oh, it's Chris. Oh, Chris is coming back. I don't give a fuck. They destroyed Chris's character in Resident Evil 8. Chris is completely out of character. Like, they have no concept of consistency with him. So yeah, all in all, I believe she's in the game. I do. I believe she's in the game. But she's probably going to be a Mercenaries character. And if she's a Mercenaries character, that's fine. If she's a Mercenaries character, that's fine. We've got these Mercenaries, extra playable characters pretty much in every game since Resident Evil 4. I don't want people to jump the gun at this. I mean, I already don't think that the game is going to be good. Honestly, this is a tough one, because like part of me feels like I needed to get the game and I needed to play it, as Resident Evil being my favorite franchise of all time. I absolutely had to do my due diligence to play through it and give an honest critique of it as a Resident Evil game. The other part of me was fighting that. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up and don't buy it. It's not Resident Evil anymore. You haven't liked Resident Evil 8. You haven't liked the remakes. 7 you're mostly positive about, but even so, there were some concerns. Like, it's all, I mean, like this post says, it's also tiresome. So I was really on the fence about it. Then, Mr. Rouge came in. Mr. Rouge came in like a fucking legend and gifted it to me like 2 months ago. Now, obviously, it's not out yet. He gifted it to me that way I could just have instant access to it. So I'm certainly going to be playing it now. But if it weren't for that, I would literally be on the fence about this. And it is my favorite video game franchise of all time. So, like, what have you done? What have you done, Capcom, that you've so harshly alienated your longtime fans to this degree? So, yeah. I mean, this Rose stuff, Rose Winters, it's just the icing on the cake if it's story related in terms of the absolute bullshit And if it's not story related, if it's just mercenary stuff, that's a-okay. I got no problem with that. I am worried about the whole ass rest of the game, though. I am, because Resident Evil 9 looks like dog shit. I hate being that guy. I don't want to come out and be negative about every fucking game. But Resident Evil 9 looks like dog shit, because it doesn't look like Resident Evil. So yeah, that's kind of where we're sitting with that. That was my way of opening the stream. That was my little venting session to open this stream. Hope y'all appreciated that. Am I going to stream it? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to stream it or not. If I stream it, it'd be like for a second playthrough. If I stream it, it'd be for a second playthrough. Maybe I'll stream it. I'm undecided. Resident Evil games, like I streamed Resident Evil 4, that remake, when it came out, but only after I'd beaten it once, and I beat it within like 2 fucking days. So the stream was pretty damn quick. But because Resident Evil is so near and dear to me, I like playing it by myself, not in the context of a stream, so that I could like take it all in and just have it be a thing for me, because it's been my favorite video game franchise for literally ever. I can't think back to a time when it wasn't my favorite franchise. So needless to say, I might stream it, but I'm more than likely going to at least play through it once, just as a run through, just for me to gauge the story, gauge the characters, gauge everything that makes it Resident Evil. And while I could do that while I was streaming it, when you're streaming, you're putting on a show, right? You're putting on a show for people. You're putting on a piece of entertainment. Like, people don't just want to watch, sit there and watch you play a video game in silence. They want commentary, and they want, things happening. And I just want to absorb the story and the everything about Resident Evil 9 in isolation before I actually do anything stream related to it. If I do anything stream related to it. Even if I don't think I'm going to like the game, which so far I don't. I don't think I'm going to like the game. But I'd also like to be proven wrong. I would. I'd like to be proven wrong. I don't think I'm going to be, but I'd like to be. So, yeah, that's pretty much everywhere we're at with Resident Evil 9. I had to talk about it. I did. I know we're 20 minutes in and we're still going on about this thing, but I had to talk about it. Alrighty. With that out of the way, let's get into the content proper. We got a lot of shit to talk about today, crew. We got a lot of shit to talk about today. We're going to start off with this. Why both the left and the right hate the Netflix Warner Bros. Merger. Dude, this has been one of the wildest, most bipartisan things that's happened in the longest time. When's the last time you saw the left and the right come together like this and collectively agree that this is some fucking bullshit? I'm trying to think of the last moment of, like, cultural unity. And, like, Avengers Infinity War? Was that it? Was it Avengers Infinity War? I have not seen people this culturally united probably since Avengers Infinity War. So let's get into it.
Guys, if you thought everything in Hollywood was already gay, just wait until the Netflix Warner Bros. Merger goes through. Alright, so I don't know about you guys, but my entire social media feed across TikTok and X and Instagram is completely dominated by the news that Netflix just won the bidding war to completely acquire Warner Bros. I mean, like, can you...
I don't know that she'll go into the idea of the Paramount hostile takeover, but that is still something that's very much on the table. So, obviously, I think it's probably going to be a great video. I like Brett Cooper's work, but let's take it with a grain of salt. She's often a little bit behind because it takes her so long to put out her content.
Imagine, I was thinking about this morning. Could you imagine telling yourself 15 years ago that the DVD rental company Netflix was going to one day be buying Warner Brothers? Like, that is just simply insane. But yes, that is the news that came out on Friday. I'm filming this on Friday, so it came out this morning. And you might be thinking, like, Brett.
Okay, so yeah, there's of course been information since this video was recorded. She recorded it on Friday. Today's Monday. So we've gotten like 3 additional days of information.
Why are you doing an episode on this? Why do I care about what is going on in Hollywood with these streaming services? Well, possibly nothing. You literally might not care at all, but this is already becoming a huge political issue, and it will definitely have an impact on viewers and possibly more importantly, the content that we and our families all consume. But before we dive into that, make sure that you guys check out CooperConfidential.com, which is our subscription platform, which has brand new farm vlogs, behind the scenes things, cooking vlogs, birth stories, plus ad-free episodes. All of that is at CooperConfidential.com. And of course,
speaking of cooking vlogs, I know, completely unrelated segue. If you ain't a member or if you are a member and you haven't joined the Discord, fucking do it. Why? Few reasons. That's right, I'm a self-plug here for a bit. You griff. You get to spend all the time you want shitting on me, so that's fun. People just be roasting my ass in the Discord. That's great. A lot of video game discussion, a lot of anime discussion, and the best part, you can see all the bomb-ass food that I make because I'm a better cook than you in the food section of the Discord. Dude, today's T-bone steak, your boy made a T-bone. Cooked to perfection, son. Last night's pork belly? Yeah, you wish. What, you think you can one-up me? You think you can one-up your boy's cooking skills? Then become a member and get in the fucking Discord and prove me wrong.
Make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the Brett Cooper Show channel if you've not already, and ring that notification bell so you never miss one of our amazing episodes. So a few months ago, Warner Brothers began receiving offers from Netflix, Paramount, and Comcast, and everybody and their mother thought that Paramount was going to bring this deal home, quote, thanks to a combination of financial firepower, political relationships, which you'll see is very important, and a relatively smoother regulatory path. And that was the assumption up until a few hours before the news broke.
And I still think this is at least in the ballpark of being the case. Like, look, yes, Netflix did put in the highest bid, only beating out Paramount by 75 cents a share. However, I don't think Netflix actually wants anything beyond the IPs. And there is so much physical assets, and again, so much more regulatory bullshit. I just don't think it's within Netflix's capability or within their necessities. If anything, this is likely just them being dicks to Paramount for the sake of being dicks to Paramount. Now, I could be wrong. I don't think, like, that's... Netflix could very well just want all this shit, but it doesn't meet what has always been their ongoing model for years. So, could they be branching out? Could they be expanding? Yeah, they could potentially be going into other avenues, but, like, the fuck is Netflix gonna do with CNN, right? CNN's part of the merger. The fuck is Netflix gonna do with CNN? So all in all, yes, it's probably like 70-30. This is Netflix's goal, but I think there's like a solid 30% chance they're just being dicks to Paramount, forcing Paramount to go full hostile takeover, $35 a share, expending way more resources than they initially thought they would.
As of this morning, Friday morning, it was announced that Netflix is officially the winner. They are acquiring Warner Brothers for a whopping $83 billion. In their press release, they said that our mission has always been to entertain the world. By combining Warner Brothers' incredible library...
If your mission has always been to entertain the world, I'm just asking, just curious. Why are you putting out shit like Black Cleopatra? That didn't entertain nobody except for those of us that got entertainment roasting the fuck out of it. My grandma never told me that Cleopatra was black.
Of shows and movies, from timeless classics like Casablanca and Citizen Kane to modern favorites like Harry Potter and Friends, with our culture-defining titles like Stranger Things, K-pop, Demon Hunters, and Squid Game. I'm sorry, like comparing
named like, I love how they named like the three most non-culturally divisive things. Like, you notice how they didn't come out there and be like, you know, Queer Eye, or what? Queer Eye is on fucking Netflix, isn't it? The point is, they didn't come out and say something like that. Like, they just put, like, the safest options out there. Because Netflix knows. I'll be real, I do think that Netflix is more or less back on a path of a relatively self-corrected trajectory. Like, yeah, we probably still gonna see some black people where they shouldn't be black people, like some race swaps, shit like that. But by and large, I think that's tapering off, but we'll see.
Casablanca to Squid Game and K-pop Demon Hunter should not be allowed. Like, this is just too insane. Anyway, just had to say that. They said we will be able to do that even better. Together, we can give audiences more of what they love and help define the next century of storytelling. This acquisition will help improve our offering and accelerate our business for decades to come. They said with their reach and proven business model, we can introduce a broader audience to the worlds that they create, Warner Brothers, giving our members more options, attracting more fans to our best-in-class streaming service, strengthening the entire entertainment industry, and creating more value for shareholders, which is just like so funny to me. I don't know if you guys are on TikTok, but there's such a joke on there where it's like, clocking in for my corporate job, I'm just here to make more value for shareholders. And so this line from their press release has been going viral simply for that reason. They're like, all right, we're gonna blow up the entire entertainment industry, but at least we're bringing value to shareholders. And in my mind,
I mean, to be fair, that is what they should be doing on a technical stance. Look, still a business. Still capitalism at play. Like, yeah, I'm glad they're at least not trying to pretend that's not the case.
This trajectory for Netflix makes complete sense because from the beginning, Netflix has openly stated that they wanted to not only own streaming, but they also wanted to own production. They're making their own TV shows, they're making their own movies. Obviously, it's a little slower going, probably not as high quality as some of the other big studios, but they have been putting...
I wouldn't even say that. The idea is like, oh, probably not as high quality as some of the other studios. I disagree with that. Some Netflix films are incredibly high quality. The Extraction movies are high quality. Wasn't that movie, the Adam Sandler basketball movie? I know it sounds weird to say, like, high quality and Adam Sandler, but shut the fuck up. Your boy loves Adam Sandler. But, like, what was the name of that movie? Something Heat? Or maybe it was just called Heat? Not like the old 90s movie, but, like, the point is, the movie where Adam Sandler, you know, brings in this foreign dude to play basketball, and, it's bothering me. Point is, that was a high-quality underdog sports film. Like, and it was really good. Netflix has put out very quality films that, and again, K-pop Demon Hunters. Now, granted, Netflix didn't make that one. They bought that from Sony. But the point is, Netflix has put out movies that frankly should have had theatrical runs. So, I kind of disagree with their assessment there.
Themselves in the race, they want to be there. And since every production studio and other network has watched the success of Netflix and then decided to start their own streaming platforms like Peacock and Paramount Plus and HBO Max, all of that, it made Netflix's goal a little bit harder. And so therefore, by acquiring Warner Brothers and their entire catalog and HBO Max and their production capabilities, they've done it. Like, this is basically the end of the entertainment industry as we know it, because it would be nearly impossible for anybody else to edge out the hold that Netflix will now have on Hollywood. This tweet summed it up well. This guy said, not just Warner Brothers. Haters said that Netflix would never be as big as HBO. They now have 300 million subscribers versus HBO's 20 million. Haters said Netflix would never be as quality as HBO. Then in 2021, they won more Emmy Awards than HBO. And today, they just bought HBO. And DC Studios, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Looney Tunes, Mortal Kombat, The Matrix, Mad Max, and hundreds more in their library, which are now up for remake if the deal goes through. And so, that being...
Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this. I don't necessarily have an issue, like, the buying and selling of these IPs, the licensing of these IPs and whatnot. I don't have an issue with that in general. You know, I like, yes, we're getting this homogenized assembly line content, and that is absolutely a problem. But, like, what are they going to do with Looney Tunes, right? Looney Tunes has been on ice for ages. Kids today don't care about fucking Looney Tunes. People our age and older, like, millennials are the youngest of the people to give a fuck about Looney Tunes. Mortal Kombat, which this motherfucker spelled wrong, and that's really bothering me. Mortal Kombat, the new Mortal Kombat movie is going to come out this May. It's going to do fucking numbers. It's likely it's just going to get a sequel, right? Netflix is going to give us a sequel. They're going to give us a Mortal Kombat 3. I doubt they're going to change anything. The Matrix, maybe they'll do stuff with The Matrix. I don't know. The fourth one bombed. The Matrix isn't really like a... Yeah, everyone loves the first one. And that's really about it. People love the Animatrix. The Animatrix is fucking awesome. Honestly, there's only two Matrix things out there. The Matrix and then the Animatrix. And that's it. Mad Max, again, not really a super strong IP right now. Harry Potter, they're just going to continue the production of the show that's already been worked on. So yeah, that was going to happen no matter what. DC Studios, superhero shit's done. Cape shit's done. They're probably gonna roll it back, scale it back. That's the word. They're probably gonna scale the DC stuff back, and just put out like at least what they should do. I don't know what I said. I should say probably because these corpos make dumbass decisions all the time. I.e., James Gunn as head of DC Studios. But what it'd be smart for them to do would be to scale it back, make people wait, just make sure that nobody else can make DC stuff. That way, when you give it 5 years or so, then you bring it back. It blows the fuck up. Game of Thrones, I mean, yeah, again, we're already getting a bunch of Game of Thrones spinoffs and stuff. They'll probably just continue the production of those as is. I don't know. I don't see, in terms of the quality of the content, I don't see too terribly much changing. It's just more about the fact that this big conglomeration now owns it all.
More in their library, which are now up for remake if the deal goes through. And so that being said, and controversy aside, and there is controversy, and we will talk about it, do not worry, but all of that is...
Jet Nuts, the Crunchyroll team-up, I'm not talking about on this stream. I'm doing a dedicated video to that, and that video will be tomorrow. Just so you know. So I am going to be talking about it, but I'm going to be doing it in a single video format, and that video will be out tomorrow.
side.
Unless it happens to come up in the Chibi Reviews video that I'm going to be going over today. So that it might come up. I don't know the context of his video. But the point is, it's definitely getting a dedicated video tomorrow.
That alone just kind of is a badass story arc for Netflix. So snaps for them, I guess. But it is not all rainbows and sunshine, because Netflix is also acquiring Warner Brothers $33+ billion in debt. Hence, I think why there was a motivator for them to do a merger. Now, it is also important to note that
the high dive team up. Yeah, that's getting its own video tomorrow.
Netflix is not acquiring every single Warner Brothers property, because Warner Brothers had already decided to do a split down the middle for their business, where they would keep their streaming and their production studio in one category, and then the other category would be their cable networks, which will now be something called Global Discovery. And that means that things like CNN, Discovery Channel, HGTV, True TV, Turner Classics, the Food Network, they will all go to Global Discovery. So do not worry, we are not about to have a Netflix CNN collaboration, at least not yet.
All right, that makes sense. So they are doing the breakup. Like, I feel like we had talked about that, but I don't know. I wasn't sure that had been confirmed. So okay, that makes sense. They're probably paying a hefty fee to do that, if I had to wager a guess.
And honestly, Netflix might help that poor network. I have no idea. But anyway, that is not coming to your TVs anytime soon. So what does this leave Netflix with? Well, it leaves them with the biggest catalog of movies.
Yeah, let's take a look at this. I see a lot of people throwing a fit about this, and me and Badger and Gooch have disagreed about this quite heavily. Friends, Mortal Kombat, the Ocean series, HBO Max, Gremlins, Smiling Friends, Evil Dead, The Flintstones, Mad Max, The Boondocks, The Matrix, Adventure Time, Beetlejuice, Sex and the City, DC Comics, Final Destination, Adult Swim, Cartoon Network, Tom and Jerry, Game of Thrones, The Jetsons, Singing in the Rain, Casablanca, The Powerpuff Girls, Harry Potter, A Clockwork Orange, Citizen Kane, The Big Bang Theory, The Goonies, Minecraft, film rights only, Scooby-Doo, Curse the Cowardly Dog, Rick and Morty, Turner Classic Movies, Johnny Bravo, as if they'd ever bring back fucking Johnny Bravo, unless it would be to spend a whole series to emasculate him, The Wizard of Oz, Looney Tunes, Dune 3, they only have the distribution rights. They can actually make it, just distribute it. I'd say that'd be good, except for the Dune films fucking suck. The Hangover, Lord of the Rings, Conjuring. The first one's fine. It's the second one that just absolutely ruined it. Every TT Games made Lego game, The Sopranos, Monsterverse, only distribution rights, Robot Chicken, and WB Games. Now this sounds like a lot. And to be fair, this is a lot. The idea that Netflix is immediately going to do anything with it all, though, probably not. Or they're going to continue with products or projects that were already, there's already a new Evil Dead movie in the pipeline. Depending on the success of that, probably will depend on whether they continue doing stuff with Evil Dead. Same with Beetlejuice. There's been talks about a Beetlejuice 3 ever since the success of Beetlejuice 2. Like the Boondocks? Y'all really think that they're going to do anything with the... I mean, maybe. It'd be sick if they did. Your boy loves the Boondocks. But I don't see them really touching that, right? Like, and the reason I say this is because a lot of studios own the rights to certain IPs that they don't do anything with. Like, Disney has owned the film rights to Dragon Ball for fucking ages now. We ain't seen a live-action Dragon Ball, and as it currently stands, I don't know of any plans to. By the way, thank God. Don't ever want that to happen. Like not speaking that shit into existence. But by and large, like, I don't think that we're gonna see, like, revivals or remakes or sequels to, I'd say, probably, like, fucking half this shit.
And TV shows, from Friends to Harry Potter to DC Comics, like you heard earlier, and in a very uninvolved way. Again, taking the controversy out of this, like, as a consumer of this already pre-existing, pre-produced content, I look at this and I'm like, whatever. Like, streaming is king now. Like, this is one less subscription platform to keep up with. It's me saving time from having to Google to see which platform the movie that I want to watch is on. Like, it's consolidated. It seems simple for the consumer. But
not only is that true, I agree with her in this regard. Like, let's think back to when Netflix as a streaming service, not when we were getting the DVDs in the mail, although your boy does remember that time, the golden ages. When Netflix was, at its, like, big, come up, it really only had one rival, Hulu. Like, that was it. It was Netflix and it was Hulu. Netflix had fucking everything except for what Hulu had. And what Netflix didn't have, Hulu had. Right? You only needed those fucking two. Then with the rise of all these various other streaming platforms, less and less content was on Netflix. And what was the point of fucking cutting cable? Now you're paying for 6, 7, 8, 9 streaming services. It's basically amounting to the same as cable, right? So the idea of them just consolidating everything to one streaming service, I don't think that's a bad thing. Like in and of itself, If you want to watch, Gone with the Wind or The Jetsons or The Conjuring or whatever, you know it's going to be on Netflix. That's not a problem. The problem is what this is going to do to the quality of new work, and more importantly, what it's going to do to the studio and the theatrical releases, the theatrical setting, that entire market. That's where the real concern is. In terms of all this shit being on Netflix, I'm actually okay with that. That's harkening back to the way Netflix used to be when it was actually fucking worth a damn. It's the physical ramifications of the theatrical experience that I think is the biggest concern here.
But that is not the bigger issue here, and we
Catch
need to
later,
go deeper, because it does seem like this will have a massive impact on the future of entertainment. And shockingly, this is actually bringing people together from across the aisle. Like, even Jack Posobiec and Elizabeth Warren are agreeing on something. Like, the only other thing that they're agreeing on is how amazing the Bon Charge infrared sauna blanket is. And guys, this thing is incredible. I literally have my sauna blanket right here. It is amazing. It gives you all the benefits of an infrared sauna, like sweating out toxins, boosting circulation, easing sore muscles, improving sleep, all of the things. But it is in the comfort of your own home, literally in my room. No spa appointment.
Those of you that don't know, by the way, in case you don't usually watch me or whatnot, because I see we got a lot of people in from the Hypno Raid, we let the ads play out. If we can steal motherfuckers' content, we let the ads play out.
No nasty, dirty, shared gym sauna with weird people sweating next to you. You just roll it out, hop in it by yourself, and relax. I love using it after long work days or tough workouts. I always come out of it feeling calmer, clearer, and more energized. It is literally like hitting reset on your body and on your mind. And Bon Charge, as you guys know,
So I want to address a comment real quick. I wish Netflix would branch out and create actual buildings in towns so people could rent physical stuff. That would be dope as fuck. I mean, it would, but it wouldn't make sense. Netflix as a business model, if they don't do brick and mortar, then they have next to no overhead. They can rake in oodles of cash without having to pay for, all the things that come with paying for brick and mortar. So, like, while it would be great for the consumer, it wouldn't benefit them in any way, shape, or form. So, like, that, I get that it would be cool, but that's wishful thinking. It'll never happen. And Malty's correct. Not enough likes. Hit that motherfucking like button.
I've worked with them for years now. I think they are amazing. They are seriously raising the bar for at-home wellness. Their sauna blankets are amazing and use infrared heat, which penetrates deep to support recovery and detoxification without overheating your environment. It is portable. As you can see, I literally pulled it across the room.
Yes, you do, Paul. You have a PS4. So that's a DVD player. Slash Blu-ray player.
It's easy to use, and honestly, it is kind of addictive. Like, just get in it, turn on a show, read a book, you will be so relaxed. LMA. And currently, Bon Charge is running their holiday sale so that you can save a massive 25% off. Just head on over to boncharge.com, and your 25% off code will be automatically added to your order. But hurry, because this sale will end on December 31st of this year, so do not miss this massive chance to save big on your new favorite Bon Charge products. This is one of the wellness tools that you will not regret investing in. Total game changer. And speaking of game changers, let me tell you about my friends over at dupe.com. Dupe.com is the best holiday shopping hack. Because if you're out shopping and you spot an amazing chair or maybe a cool jacket at the store, but it is insanely overpriced and you just cannot fathom spending the money on it, you can go straight over to dupe.com, paste the product URL into their site or a photo, and boom, it will find you the same item or similar, but for way less. Dupe.com really is the easiest holiday shopping hack. Just type in dupe, dupe.com forward.
Look, is it just me, or is naming your company Dupe, which has the negative connotation of stealing from people, like swindling people, a bad fucking idea? That's just a horrible name for a business.
/ before any product URL into your browser, and it will instantly find you more affordable alternatives perfect for gifting. They even have an app and a browser extension that you could easily download. No account required, no sign up required. It is completely free to use. So stop overspending on brand names and start saving on holiday gifts with dupe.com immediately. Anyway, back to Posobiec and Senator Warren. Jack Posobiec was quick to speak out about this early this morning, and his response was political. He said, Obama Netflix purchasing Warner Brothers, a monopoly to own the minds of America and America's youth. And you might be thinking,
now, hold on. Let's talk about this. Atreus brought this up on SNH this past week, and I agree with Atreus completely. Netflix, and I know a lot of folk want to talk about how woke and shit Netflix is, which is true in terms of the quality of their content, but not inherently. Like, because they also have super base shit, like Extraction, and Dave Chappelle specials, and whatnot. There was not even really anything politically egregious about shows like Wednesday. So, all in all, it seems to me, Netflix just goes where the money is and hope that shit takes off. I mean, do they put out incredibly gay shit? Absolutely. But I don't think that it's like that Netflix has just this like agenda to turn everybody gay and shit like that. Yo, shout out to the Raiders. I'm not sure what raid came in, but Badger Raid. Shout out to the Badger Raid. Truly appreciate you. Badgers bastards coming in hot. You love to see it. What is up, crew? But yeah, no, I truly don't think that Netflix is out there just like scheming and plotting. What shows and movies can we produce to turn the kids trans? No, I think they're out there like, we want to make money. What shows and movies and stuff can we produce that make money? And that's why you get both based and woke shit on Netflix.
Purchasing Warner Brothers, a monopoly to own the minds of America and America's youth. And you might be thinking, okay, Brett, now I'm really confused. Like, what do the Obamas have to do with anything? Well, you might remember, they have a major deal with Netflix to produce and distribute Obama-centric content. And Susan Rice, who worked both under Obama and Biden as the National Security Advisor and the Domestic Policy Advisor, is on Netflix's board. And she was brought onto the board to use her political expertise to drive the company forward in that way. And so Posobiec's argument is that this is just giving Netflix more political power over everything that we and our families watch and consume. And I mean, they have already been at the forefront of politicizing content and remakes, and this just gives them even more content infrastructure.
I would see again, they haven't really been at the forefront of it. They've just been doing what every other company and you know, people churning out this content has been doing. Now that being said, I also disagree with Posobiec's opinion in, like, you know, does Obama run this, that, and the other? Because Sarandos, the CEO of Netflix, met with Trump a month ago. A very positive meeting with Trump. So, like, I just don't see it. The two things are not congruent with one another. Netflix fought Dave Chappelle over a few bisexual jokes he made, then tried to cancel him. Netflix employees did. Sure, the top brass at Netflix told those employees to go fuck yourselves. No, but Turner, you're wrong. Netflix told their employees that boycotted to go fuck themselves. Netflix stood behind Dave Chappelle in terms of, like, the content. They didn't have him change anything. They didn't have him alter anything. Nothing like that. So, yeah, no, you're objectively wrong. Yeah, you got some low-level employees that don't like shit that did a boycott, and that boycott didn't work. And Netflix didn't take down the special. They didn't make any alterations to it. So, yeah, you're just objectively wrong.
Structure and opportunities to do so. And in Jack Posobiec's mind, I think this is a really interesting argument, is that this is what MK Ultra has turned into. And somebody responded to him saying that and said, yes, MK Ultra never left. It just evolved. Instead of dosing one person with acid, they dosed billions with...
What does it matter if they fired him? What does it matter if your employees make a statement, you have to fire them? I've told this story a million times, and I'll tell it again. When COVID went down, the job I had prior to this, right, when I was working IT, I worked IT for 7 years. When COVID went down, we had to work from home for a while, and then once the vaccine came out, and mind you, when you work IT, it was an office of about 45 dudes, like 43 dudes and 2 bitches, because it was IT, computers. It was a very, very male-dominated office. And my company said, which was a Fortune 500 company, it was a very, very large multinational conglomeration I worked for, they said the vaccine would be mandatory. And then me and a couple other dudes started talking about how we didn't like the idea of the vaccine being mandatory. And next thing you know, nearly everybody in the entire office agreed that we wouldn't be taking the vaccine. And we all told our bosses, we're not taking the fucking vaccine. And guess what they did? They backed down. Now, they could have fired us for boycotting, sure. But they also realized that, yeah, we can't run our multi-billion-dollar conglomeration if our entire IT team fucking leaves. So instead what they said is, how about we have the vaccinations be optional, and if you take it, you'll get a bonus. Now, some people agreed to that, took the money, and you know, whatnot, got the vaccine. The vast majority of us still didn't get it, but the point is, they backed down and they listened to us. So do I expect Netflix to fire their employees for boycotting the Dave Chappelle stuff? No. What if they need those employees to run the business on average day to day and cut a deal with them like my company did with us? So, no, I think all these things their agenda still stands. Just look at the new Witch movie. Right. Who made the Witch? You don't understand how Netflix works. Okay? Netflix hires people to make the movies. Okay? Netflix hires people to make the movies. Netflix doesn't make the movies. They hire people to make the movies. Okay? So Netflix hires base people to make movies and dumbass woke people with agendas to make movies. But Netflix themselves, they a business. They just want to fucking make money. Like, I'm truly, just baffled at the idea. You're like, you can't just blame some nameless, faceless corporate entity. I mean, you can, but there's no evidence to back up what you're saying. Now, look at Amazon. Amazon has released some truly based shit, like the Extraction show, for example. They also have Greta Gerwig doing what will undeniably be an unequivocally woke destruction of the Chronicles of Narnia. So, like, again, you've got these corporations that they hire people to do shit that they think will make money. Now, the people they hire might have agendas. Absolutely. But Netflix themselves, yeah, they probably lean progressive. Most fucking companies do. But does that mean they've got these evil machinations to, put out exclusively gay content to turn your kids into cocksuckers? No. We've got the World Economic Forum doing that. Netflix doesn't need to.
Repetitive scripting, trauma imagery, and behavioral nudging. Watched a bit of The Beast in Me the other night. That's a new show. First episode had a child death, presumably to shake people into an altered state, and then commenced into hypnotic programming. Within a few episodes, there was already a lesbian protagonist, a straight white male, secretly evil and murderous antagonist. Bad guy expressed anti-socialist views and pro-right-wing views. Living away from cities mocked. AOC type shown as hero, who is uncorruptible. Violent agent provocateur is shown to be secretly right-wing. Left is shown to be peaceful protesters. The only straight white male good guy is an adulterous drug addict.
Now, all this shit is true, by the way. All this is true, and show is disgusting and what was fuck. But let's look back at the history of shows like this on Netflix. Most of them get canceled after like the second fucking season. Hypnotic programming, great. There's gonna be another clip. There is now. But no, like, most of these shows get canceled after 2 fucking seasons. Because people don't watch it, right? At least the vast majority of people that don't want shit like this in their content don't watch it. What are the shows that go on for years? Yeah, the shows that by and large are quality first. By the way, I don't know about y'all, I don't got issue with, quote unquote woke shit being in the show as long as the show is good. It just 9 times out of 10 isn't good because these writers and these creatives put all of this sort of ideological bullshit ahead of characters, story, things to that effect. You can have movies that are, technically woke films that are still good movies. I mean, they're just as long as they've got the character writing first, as long as they've got the actual story first. Now, that's rare in today's day and age. But look back at any movie from the 90s that we all grew up loving. Yeah, a lot of those were made by lefty, liberal Hollywood types. They just actually knew how to do their fucking job at the time. Shout out, thanks for the sub, Mark. So yeah, by and large, shows like this get canceled. Yeah, they're dumb. And they're made by, people with agendas. But it's not Netflix with the agenda. It's the people they hire that have the agendas. And eventually that'll fade out as long as the content keeps failing.
The NPCs won't notice any of this. They will absorb it as normal. Same format every time. Shake you with traumatic imagery, then program you. Think the opening scene of Stranger Things. MK Ultra is alive and well. Warner Brothers acquisition will quintuple their influence. This is scary. Now, in reading all of this, this reminds me of the reason why my mom never let TV into our home. Like, we had a TV, but I had certain shows that I was allowed to watch, the Andy Griffith Show, I Love Lucy, that sort of thing. We had VHSs of the OG Disney movies that I would watch, but that was it. And her reason for that was not just that she wanted me to go outside and touch grass and play make-believe and, play with my American Girl dolls, but it was because she did not want somebody else's values to come into our home. She saw that as the door.
And that's totally fine. Guess what? Sounds like Brett Cooper's mom was actually being a fucking parent, right? I'm tired of people both on the left and the right. The left, oh my god, all these violent shows. Oh, they're showing sexual assault. Oh, this, that, and the other. Or the right wing shows like, oh, they're showing gays to kids. How about you just be a fucking parent and lay down the law on what your kid can and can't fucking watch? You don't need the nanny state. You don't need Big Daddy Corpo saying what is and isn't appropriate for your kids. You're the fucking parent. So how about you just lay down the fucking law? That goddamn simple.
with which other people's ideas and opinions would come in and influence me. And understandably, in her mind, she went, no, I'm the parent. I'm going to teach you what I believe. I'm not letting anybody else sit you down in front of a television to teach you and take you away from me. And every day I realize how right and ahead of the curve she really was. Now, moving on from that, where Posobiec and
By the way, look, I don't know how old Brett Cooper is. I assume she's around the same age as me. Your mother wasn't right or ahead of the curve. That was just sort of like normal parenting back in the day. Like, my mom didn't let me watch certain movies because, like, they weren't for kids. And then it was really weird. She would let me watch certain movies that also weren't for kids. Like, Mom, why'd you let me watch Scream at 3? Like, I actively remember my mom sitting, like me sitting down next to my mom while she was watching Scream on VHS and just letting me watch it with her. I mean, don't get me wrong. Dope. Happy for it. Probably why I love horror movies to this day. But that's a really weird decision. You'd say I can't watch Dragon Ball Z, but I can fucking watch Scream? My mom was weird. Anyway.
Elizabeth Warren do seem to agree is on the issues of monopolies and antitrust laws. And in an article on his website, Human Events, they wrote, ultimately, this $82.7 billion behemoth of an acquisition by one of the most progressive, predatory corporations on planet Earth deserves legislation directed at it. Because this is a blatant antitrust violation. A conservative-controlled FTC, Federal Trade Commission, and the GOP-controlled House of Representatives need to take action against the Marxist coalition that has just been built to disenfranchise American families and indoctrinate the minds of our youth. Whether it be the usage of the Clayton and Sherman Acts or imposing fines, this merger needs to be made an example of for the obvious takeover that has been committed for the sole purpose of communist indoctrination. Now,
I'm going to say something's going to piss a lot of people off here, especially because I know I got a lot of viewers that are right-wing, and that ain't nothing wrong with that. Again, you know your boy's an anarchist, but morally wise, I absolutely align more with the right than the left. 100%. However, it's funny to me that the right is always like, oh, we want less regulation. Hey, we want to let businesses choose for themselves. The whole point of being a conservative is to conserve government power. Tell us shit they don't like, and all of a sudden it's bring out the government power, baby. Like, I need y'all to at least be philosophically consistent.
now, to be clear, I do not think that Senator Pocahontas agrees that this is Marxist indoctrination. I don't think that that is why she's against this, but she does see this as a dangerous monopoly over the film industry. In a tweet from this morning, she said, news, Netflix is trying to buy Warner Brothers, and she said, this deal looks like an anti-monopoly nightmare. A Netflix Warner Brothers would create one massive media giant with control of close to half the streaming market. It could force you into higher prices, fewer choices over what and how you watch, and may put American workers at risk. But the thing is, as I'm looking at all these posts online, as I'm reading the comments, as I do, a lot of just normal people, normal consumers do not seem to care. Like, again, as I said at the beginning, we are already spread so thin across all the different various streaming sites, and families are already having to pick and choose what they want to put their money towards, what they want to subscribe to. And now, actually, it's really annoying that we just got rid of cable, that movie theaters barely exist anymore. And now if you want to have full access to everything, you have to pay for a million different platforms and bundles. Like, it has gotten completely ridiculous. And
Exactly. And this is why AI is going to rise up. This is why, like, at the end of the day, people don't care. People care about the quality of the product they receive. Excuse me. They do not give a fuck about the political ramifications. By and large, people don't give a fuck if folks lose their jobs, because it doesn't matter to them in their day-to-day life. Dude, they already get up God knows what time to go to work for God knows how long, for God knows what little shitty pay. Speaking of shitty pay, we ain't got any donos yet, folks. I'm gonna need you to fix that. Griff. But no, like, jokes aside, people already got it fucking rough, okay? Why do you think they fucking care about the one thing they have to come home to at the end of the day to give them some level of escapism? Now, that's why people hate the woke shit, because they're already out there in the shitty, sucky-ass real world every day as is, and they gotta come home and be indoctrinated further into this, mind virus of realism and modernity, so they're not getting their escapism. But if they were getting their escapism, right, if the quality was there, they wouldn't care. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I don't blame people one iota for not giving a shit about this merger, because there's bigger shit going on in the world. Maybe after they work their boring ass 9 to 5, they just want to come home and watch the fucking Matrix.
consumers are over it. And it's not just for entertainment, it's also for sports and those kinds of things. Like, consumers are just done. And so for a lot of people, this does seem like it's simplifying the system for them. Like, one person said, well, I'm already paying for about 150 different streaming services. If you're telling me that it is consolidated into one payment and platform, I actually think I'm winning. I mean, again, basically cable, which somebody commented about and said, now they finna combine all the streaming services and introduce Gen Z into a new streaming service called cable. I mean, imagine that. We have come full circle, which actually this is even more full circle than just coming back to cable. And we'll talk about that at the end, because this does relate to a Supreme Court case from 1948 that is incredibly relevant, but getting to that soon. Anyway, now from the inner Hollywood industry perspective, there is also the more positive argument that Netflix, or whoever would have purchased Warner Brothers, is effectively bailing them out. Because they have so much debt, it's giving them more distribution, therefore helping keep Warner Brothers afloat, keeping its legacy alive, and making sure that people's jobs are safe. But the majority of people do not see it that way. In fact, Hollywood on a whole is just completely and utterly unhappy. In fact,
and while I know that objectively speaking, I know that this Netflix buyout of Warner Bros. Is a bad thing. Like, especially for the theater industry that I love so much. However, why were you even $40 billion in debt to begin with, Warner Bros? Is it because you've been putting out shit movie after shit movie, shit product after shit product that didn't return on investment, so you sunk further and further into debt? I mean, like, all these Hollywood type that are all upsetting spaghetti about this buyout, I'm almost inclined to side with Netflix just out of spite. Good. Fuck you. You get what you deserve. You brought this on yourselves. Wouldn't be happening if you weren't $40 billion. Warner Brothers, guys, I want to remind you, just Warner Brothers, $40 billion in debt. Now, maybe if you hadn't have, bet all your horses or on the horse, bet all your money on the horse of the woke ideology, or bet all your horse on the indoctrination, or in this, any of this progressive modern neo-Marxist bullshit, and just put out classic traditional stories, the hero's journey, things that people actually like, love, the traditional storytelling that's been around since at least ancient Greece, if not further. Maybe you wouldn't have found yourselves in $40 billion of debt, and maybe, just maybe, this buyout never would have happened. So, I know that objectively Netflix buying Warner Bros. Is a bad thing. I also find it kind of hard to give a fuck, because you did this to yourselves.
An anonymous list of producers has already sent an open letter to Congress. By this morning, they had already penned and sent an open letter to Congress begging them to do something, of course. And here's the thing. Even though my gut response is to laugh at their open letter, their argument is really not that crazy. And it's a concern that a lot of people are sharing online, which is that now Netflix will effectively control the entire entertainment industry, and that this will be the final nail in the coffin for independent films and for movie theaters. Because Warner Brothers, the company, will now give Netflix the infrastructure to produce and create whatever they want. They don't have to buy from anybody else anymore, and theoretically they will be able to take those projects, those TV shows, those movies, and put them directly onto Netflix without going to theaters. They're completely jumping over the theatrical system. Variety wrote about this letter and said that these producers said that Netflix could stand to destroy the theatrical marketplace by escalating or eliminating the amount of time that Warner Brothers films would play in theaters before hitting a combined Netflix HBO Max streaming platform.
And yes, that would suck. It would. I completely agree that it would suck. As somebody who, to me, the movie theater is church, I go as often as possible. I'm going tomorrow night. I already got my tickets for Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I'm going tomorrow night. I can't wait. I love going to the movies. All right, it is like church to me. That being said, I like going to the movies. I like the atmosphere of going to the movies. I like the communal aspect of going to the movies. I like sitting in a room with dozens, if not 100+ strangers that I don't know, and we're all having this same shared moment in time where we shut out the outside world and we just take in a story together. There is something about that experience that is beautiful. It's really no different than going to a concert, right? It's just 2 hours of forgetting what's going on in the outside world and being amongst other humans and having this shared moment of art. However, when 90% of your movies are dog shit, the experience of being in a theater can really only take you so far. Like, I'm gonna be real. The last movie I went and saw was the Chainsaw Man movie. Now, y'all know me. Your boy doesn't even like Chainsaw Man. But because I'm an anime fan in general, and because I'm concerned about the way that anime is being handled in the West, I thought, let's check this out. I came away from the experience of the Chainsaw Man movie not really liking the movie, because I already figured I wouldn't. I don't like Chainsaw Man. But I could also objectively say soundtrack was pretty damn good. The animation was gorgeous. And the time I had in the theater with other anime fans wearing a fucking Chainsaw Man cardboard cutout hat they gave us away as promo stuff. If you guys didn't see it, it was awesome. Like, that, it was a worthwhile experience to be there and see the movie and whatnot, just for the communal experience of being around other fucking weebs and get to be there in that movie. Like, even if I didn't like it. But that's a rare case nowadays. Most of the times I go to the theater, man, when I went and saw Until Dawn a few months ago, I was one of only 3 people in the entire theater. The movie fucking sucked. It is probably unequivocally the worst movie I saw in theaters all fucking year. And you want to know why I felt so bad about going and seeing it in theaters? Because I said I was one of 3 people. The other 2 people in that theater was a couple. If it weren't for me, they could have had that whole theater themselves, and they could have found themselves having some little good, fun, sexy times in the fucking theater without getting caught or nothing. I ruined that for them. Instead, they had to just sit there and watch Until Dawn because of my presence. What a fucking... Oh, man. I'm so sorry to that couple. I'm regretful to that couple all these months later. I still think about them. I still think about how I may have fucked up what could have been their only chance at a public sexual extravaganza. Sorry, guys. Anyway, what I'm getting at with this is the theater model nowadays is a beautiful model, but it only goes so far if the quality of the content doesn't fucking suck.
Apparently.
Also, shout out, remember for 11 months, shout out Michael Doberman. Just remember the Godzilla -1 costed $20 million. No, it was cheaper than that. Acolyte costed $250 million. They obviously only see the industry as a way to launder money. Now, that's not really a fair comparison. Godzilla -1, first of all, different countries, different financial system. It costed $15 million, including marketing, so it was likely closer to about a $10 million movie. Also, TV shows are, far longer. So you had 8 hours plus of content compared to about an hour and a half of content. That's, of course, going to cost more money. Now, should it have costed $250 million? Absolutely the fuck not. But I don't think that's a fair comparison. But yes, I get what you're saying. Shout out, thank you for being a member for 11 months, homie. You're getting damn close to that 1-year mark.
If Paramount were to buy it instead of Netflix, they were going to allow Warner Brothers to operate as a standalone business and produce films for theaters. I think they were going to do 14 theatrical releases a year. And so because of that, people were far more in favor of that acquisition. And even outside of the industry, outside of that list of Hollywood elites and producers, people just don't seem thrilled about this kind of bottlenecking. Like one guy, Jake, said, HBO has made some of the greatest TV shows of all time. Warner Brothers has made some of the best movies ever.
Yeah, Warner Brothers made some of the best movies ever. 30 years ago. Name a Warner Brothers movie the last fucking decade that you enjoy. Right? Name a Warner Brothers movie that's come out in the last fucking decade that you thought, damn, this is gonna go down in history as one of the greats. I'm guessing without fucking Googling it, you can't. And even if you Google it, your pickings is gonna be slim.
Netflix has made some of the worst of both. They will not have the same level of excellence with their new work that Warner Brothers did. This is horrible for the film and TV industry. And listen, he's not wrong. It is funny to think about, Warner Brothers and HBO, they have The Sopranos and True Detective and Big Little Lies, and then Netflix.
I know for a fucking fact that Future Over You got a little chubby when she flashed True Detective on screen for a moment. And I know because I did too.
as Bridgerton. It's like, okay, we really can't compare here. And like, no hate at all, because I definitely have watched Bridgerton, but it is just a funny comparison. And the thing is, there is an audience for all of that, for all of those shows, and Netflix knows that. That is why they want to merge. That is why they want to buy Warner Brothers, because now they are capturing both. But again, people see that as being at the expense of traditional storytelling and movie magic. HD Movie Source on X said, Netflix buying Warner Brothers feels like the end of an era. This is not about growing cinema. It is about locking everything into streaming and forgetting what made movies matter in the first place. Warner Brothers was the studio that gave us classics on the big screen, and now it is swallowed by a company.
Why do people keep romanticizing Warner Bros? I won't lie. I'm actually legit sick of people romanticizing Warner Bros like this. Like, I get it. We're all nostalgic for the golden age of Warner Bros. Who the fuck isn't? But that's not the company they've been in years upon years upon years. Like, if Warner Bros. Was so fucking great, then they wouldn't have been $40 billion in fucking debt.
That only cares about pushing content through an app. When you put it that way, guys, like, it genuinely is very depressing. Like, thinking about we're completely jumping over movie theaters, we're missing the in-person magic of storytelling. People are not going to Broadway shows anymore. We're not going to theater. Tech is taking over everything in our world. AI is replacing jobs. I mean, like, I'm blackpilling you guys right now, but that is what this feels like. He goes on and he says, collectors know the difference. Physical releases, theaters, the shared experience of film, that's humanity. That's like real person interaction art. That is cinema. When the focus shifts to streaming only, you lose the artistry, the permanence, the respect for the medium. It is not progress, it is the death of cinema dressed up as convenience. We will know more in 4 years when all the current productions have played out. That is when the real impact will be clear. And the thing is, the CEOs of Netflix are not actually denying any of this.
What do you mean, how bad was DC before Warner, how bad has DC been for Warner Brothers? I mean, you make an excellent point. Well, I don't know that you make an excellent point. DC was not actually bad for Warner Brothers. Now I'm thinking about until the recent gun stuff, DC hadn't been bad for Warner Brothers. They said it was bad for Warner Brothers, but if you look at the numbers, it wasn't. Not when Snyder was involved. Like, whether y'all like Snyder or not, we're talking about purely mathematically numbers. DC was doing fine under Snyder. DC was doing fine. Look, compare ticket sales and so price of a ticket, number of tickets sold, adjust for inflation, and box office revenue. Compare Man of Steel to Superman, to James Gunn's Superman. Man of Steel blows it out the water in every single metric. Right? Every metric. Didn't Warner Bros. Make $1 billion this year with Minecraft? No. Well, so first of all, Minecraft never crossed $1 billion. It got close, never crossed $1 billion. But even if it would have, well, you still gotta adjust for budget, and then adjust for marketing, then adjust for theater cuts. So really, it comes out to Warner Brothers made probably about $400,000, you know, like give or take $450,000 off Minecraft. That would have been their profit. $450,000 ain't doing a goddamn thing to put a dent in $40 billion of debt.
As when pressed, one of them said, no, we're saving Hollywood. We are in a period of transition. Folks grew up thinking, I want to make movies on a gigantic screen and have strangers watch them and to play them in the theater for 2 months and have people cry and have sold out shows. It is an outdated concept.
Yeah, sorry, million. Did I say thousand? Yeah, I mean million. Thank you. I meant, yeah, million. My bad.
I mean, like, I don't even know. Like, that's just so sad. But there you have it. The writing is on the wall. They are not.
Yeah, Scotty. I meant million. I'm retarded. I said thousand. I meant million.
Mincing words at all. Apparently, those authors chose to leave that letter unsigned. They decided to be anonymous, quote, not out of cowardice, but out of fear of retaliation, given Netflix's considerable power as a
Man still made more money than Superman's James Gunn did, but it didn't do what they wanted. Neither did Batman vs. Superman and Justice League. Well, Justice League wasn't Snyder. First of all, yeah, Justice League. I don't think Justice League was a bomb. Hold on. I don't think Justice League was a bomb. Let's take a look. Why is the numbers not? Oh, so the numbers, like, yeah, okay. I guess we'll just click Joss Whedon. Can we? What the fuck? I don't give a fuck about his acting or his directing credentials. Where is... Here, we'll just do it this way. Alright, Justice League. Worldwide gross was $660 million. I don't know what the budget was. Why is it taking forever to load? Come on. Give me some numbers, bitch. I derailed Leon's thought about it. Well, no, I mean, first of all, you talk about Man Steal My Money, but it didn't do what they wanted. Well, it's because they wanted Marvel numbers. You're not going to get Marvel numbers with your very first superhero movie. You're not. Like, sure, it didn't do what they wanted. What they wanted was completely unrealistic. Okay, you know what? We're going to Box Office Mojo. It's not loading the numbers, so... Okay. What was the... Does not list the budget on here? It does not. Well... $300 million, maybe one of the most expensive movies. Okay, so yeah, it was a very expensive film. Struggled box office, it wasn't profitable. Okay, so I'll give you that. Yeah, Justice League was a failure. I'll give you that. Justice League was a failure. That being said, how much of that was a failure because the budget did balloon to $300 million? Yeah, added $25 million, around $70 million for additional. I mean, that's for the Snyder Cut. But anyway, I guarantee you, like, they had to bring on Joss Whedon, so they had to pay him extra. They had to do a bunch of reshoots. Yeah, I imagine the budget ballooned out of control. So, there's that aspect to it. Point is, they were doing fine. What Warner Brothers wanted was unrealistic.
Buyer and a distributor. So they are really driving the point home that they cannot even attach their names to this letter because of how powerful Netflix already is and how powerful it will become after this merger. But other people who are already big names in the industry were happy to attach their names. Mark Ruffalo, in fact, tweeted out an op-ed by Jane Fonda against the sale, which is just like so classic because if you have followed anything in politics over the last 10 years, like whatever the current thing is, Mark Ruffalo and Jane Fonda, they will be on the front lines. They will be protesting. They will be tweeting. And so, of course, they believe that this is, quote, a threat to democracy. Now, I have concerns about this merger. I don't know how this is going to work in Hollywood, but them saying that this is a threat to democracy makes me want it to go through. I'm like, okay, this is laughable. This is not a threat to democracy, but that's just my gut response because I don't like the two. Anyway, moving on. Christopher Nolan, who is the president of the Directors Guild of America, also spoke out and he said, quote, "We believe that a vibrant, competitive industry, one that fosters creativity and encourages genuine competition for talent, is essential to safeguarding the careers and creative rights of directors and their teams." And
I said this last night on Gooch's stream, and I'll say it again. I don't give a fuck about your careers in Hollywood. And it's not even because of, like, all the woke stuff or the political ideology stuff or anything like that. It's because you entered the entertainment industry. That is a high-risk, high-reward industry. You are rolling the dice on a massive amount of success or effectively a lifetime of poverty. So, yes, your careers are at risk. I 100% agree the careers are at risk. That's also the risk you fucking take when getting into the entertainment industry. It's no different than being here on YouTube. No different whatsoever. I'm taking a huge risk to try and do this for a living. Currently, I'm succeeding at it. Barely, but I am. Needless to say, it's the risk to take. And if it doesn't pan out, oh well. That's just what happens. That's what happens when you take high-risk, high-reward bets. I'm not going to feel sorry for somebody who loses their job in Hollywood or in any sort of creative industry because creative industries are high-risk, high-reward. That's always been the nature of the beast. Do you think the fucking dude who was, like could make a living playing the guitar for the pharaoh while other motherfuckers are building pyramids? I'm sure if there is a guy that did that, he didn't make what would equate to several hundred millions a year. Jana Banana, you beautiful bitch, how you doing? It's been a minute.
have to say, it is just like incredibly ironic that they are now all in favor of this vibrant competition for talent and movies when so many of them in Hollywood grandstand about capitalism and support socialist candidates. It's like, okay, so now you want competition. Now you want the free market and the capitalist marketplace when it helps you. Just food for thought because it is incredibly ironic. Now, the good thing is not all hope is lost because the deal is not officially done yet. And actually, as of like 5 minutes before I sat down to record this episode, Paramount announced that they are preparing a hostile bid to kick Netflix out of the running, and regardless of who ends up acquiring Warner Brothers, they're still going to have to go through a stiff DOJ antitrust review, and it honestly is not looking great for Netflix. A source allegedly close.
I disagree with her completely here, saying that it's not looking great. This will go through, all right? Whether y'all want it to or not, whether we want it to or not, Netflix acquisition of Warner Brothers will go through. Why? Because Microsoft purchasing fucking Activision Blizzard went through. That was huge. That was in litigation for nearly 3 years, but it went through. We're talking Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft is far bigger, with a far larger reach, with far more monopolistic tendencies than fucking Netflix. If they let Microsoft, the Microsoft Activision Blizzard go through after 3 years of litigation, 2.5 years, so close up to 3 years of litigation, this is going through. All right, the only chance here is for Paramount to come in and succeed with a hostile takeover. That is the only chance. Otherwise, this is going through. I'm tired of people already coping about how Big Daddy government gonna step in and make sure this doesn't happen. It will happen. Unless the hostile takeover is successful.
To the White House said, quote, "Nobody is buying what they're saying either at senior levels of the White House or DOJ antitrust. The key concern is that Warner Brothers streaming service HBO Max is the #3 streamer with 100 million subscribers. Combine it with the 300 million subscribers already held by #1, Netflix, the merged entity would be twice as large as its nearest competitor in streaming, which would be Disney." And to circle back to what I hinted about earlier on in the episode, this will be particularly interesting considering a Supreme Court case from 1948, and that was United States v. Paramount, which you can see here. And this is important to talk about because before this case in 1948, the major Hollywood studios like MGM and Warner Brothers and Paramount and Fox and RKO, they controlled the entire movie pipeline. From production to distribution, they literally owned the theaters. And because of the Supreme Court case, movie studios are no longer allowed to own the theaters. And this, in 1948, it opened up a whole world of independent storytelling and created what I would say was the golden age of movie storytelling. But with this deal, we're now seeing the opposite. We are seeing the theater, or the streamer, now owning the studio. And that, of course, is the major concern. If you made it all the way to the end of this episode,
yeah, all in all, that was a pretty good video. It was a pretty good video. I don't think that I think that she is mostly correct. There were some things that I took umbrage with in terms of what she was saying, but all in all, I think she was mostly correct. At the end of the day, my thoughts are pretty simple on this. Do I like it? No. Does it ultimately matter in the eyes of the consumer? Also, no. And the consumer is who these products are for. Like, people do not care where they are getting the product they're consuming or how they're getting the product they're consuming, as long as it's a quality product they find to be worth their money. Now, we can throw a fit about the political aspects of this. We can throw a fit about the ideological aspects of this. We can throw a fit about the ramifications of what this will do to the studio industry, the film industry, the theatrical industry. And those are all valid things to throw a fit about. But if it doesn't, if the vast majority of consumers don't get on board with throwing bitch fits about those, then what does it ultimately matter? I mean, in all reality, what does it ultimately matter? Now, would it be preferable for Paramount to come in with a hostile takeover and just snap everything up, paying $35 a share, notably overpaying? Yeah, that'd be preferable. I don't know what the likelihood of that is. So, all in all, we might be looking at the death knell for the theatrical experience. Obviously, theaters won't go away entirely, but there will be a specialty hobby. Theaters will become the equivalent of, like, record stores, right? Yeah, record stores still exist. You can still go there and buy vinyl. I do it from time to time. But, like, it's not exactly a booming industry. It's certainly for a small but dedicated clientele. And that's likely what we'll see theaters reduced to. And a lot of them will go out of business. A lot of them will go out of business. Unless Paramount comes in and saves this. But if they all do go out of business, well, they were headed that way anyway. People aren't going to see movies anymore. Why would you go to the theater? Now, again, I don't agree with this mentality, by the way, what I'm about to say, because I've already said how much I love the theater and how often I go to the theater. I can't tell you guys how many times I've gone to the theater this year alone, even though this has been one of the worst years for movies of all time, really. Why would the average individual normal person go to the theater when they can sit at their house, lounge on their couch or in their bed, pop their own popcorn, scroll on their phone, smoke if they want to smoke, not have to pay the absorbent amount of money for like the concessions and whatnot, have the ability to pause their movie. Why would it not account for the drive time? You've got major drive time. Time is more valuable than money. Why would anybody do that on average? Well, they'd have to have a reason, and the reason is usually you want an experience. What fucking movies, minus a handful I can think of off the top of my head, give people that experience? Oppenheimer and Barbie. Like Barbenheimer's the last time I can think of that legit being the case. In a more niche way, and not even really niche, the Mario and Sonic movies also did that. That's really it. Barbenheimer, Mario and Sonic. You can say Godzilla Minus One did it, but Godzilla Minus One had a much easier battle to do so because of how cheap that movie was to make. You could maybe say Nosferatu did. Maybe. Even that, I think, is pushing it. Okay, so I listed 5 movies in the last 3 years that made it worthwhile to see in theaters that were truly event films. Yeah, people... It's partly to, like... I don't even know what other way... another way to say it. The government usually has vested interest in these mergers, but try to say... That's true as well. Deadpool Wolverine... It on the surface, it looks like it, yes. However, the financials for Deadpool and Wolverine came out relatively recently. Turns out that was so fucking expensive on the back end, it barely made any money. So, like, publicly facing, in terms of the optics, yeah, that was a big cultural moment. Came and went really damn fast, and it also turns out that it didn't make all that much money. So, I don't even think you could really count Deadpool and Wolverine numerically. Optically, maybe. But I'll give you a half a point for that one, I guess. All in all, people just want to go where the good quality content is, and they want the least amount of resistance to do it. Or if there's going to be resistance, the resistance they receive has to be worth their time, effort, and money. But that's where we're at with that one. That's where we're at with that. Well, speaking of financials, gaming's greed epidemic just got worse. Now, I got no idea what this is about, but it popped up in my recommended feed, and I thought this was incredibly interesting. So, let's check it out.
Would you buy a full-price movie ticket to a film that you knew was unfinished?
I mean, people bought movie tickets to see the Disney Star Wars movies.
Picture it. You stroll into your local theater, hyped to see the latest action blockbuster. You go to the counter, print your tickets, buy your refreshments, head to your seat. Settle in. The lights go down, and
Scotty G coming in hot, becoming a Words of Paradise member, a straight-up Vital Idol. You'll love to see it. My man with a plan, this is for you.
Now excuse me while I harass someone for having pronouns in their bio.
Shout out, brother. Truly appreciated. Thank you.
And hey, is that unfinished green screen in the background? Whatever. Studios cut corners all the time.
Make sure you join the Discord if you're a Discord user, Scotty. We have a lot of fun in there.
Wait, why is Keanu bugging out? Are his lines out of sync with the cuts in the audio? This is weird, but fine. You're still enjoying yourself until Halfway through the second act, when the screen just fades to black. Credits, hard cut, climax coming October 2026. Or would you splurge on your favorite artist's latest album if you had to roulette the tracks like a damn loot box, not knowing if you'd ever have the full project in your possession? Would you stroll into the Louvre, pay full admission, and calmly accept that the Mona Lisa's famous smile was missing?
Holy shit. That is such a great analogy. Like, I don't even want to say analogy, but like what could happen in the future. Imagine walking in the Louvre and like they fucking paywall the Mona Lisa, like being able to see the full picture. Or you could use the free Louvre but with ads tier, and you've got like giant corpo McDonald's and Netflix advertisements on either side of the Mona Lisa. That is scarily dystopian, but I can 100% see it happening. Damn. Okay. This video's already won me over. Let's go.
Until you paid an additional $30 to unlock the full thing. Oh, and you'd have to come back in 5 months from...
All right, to be fair though, is her smile really worth $30? Like Mona Lisa, she got a fine smile, I guess. I would rather do the modded Mona Lisa with the giant jugs. That's what I want the Fallout 4 giant jug mod for Mona Lisa.
From now, once it's available. Sounds crazy, right? Then why the fuck do we accept this in the video game industry? Well, let's talk.
I'll tell you exactly why we accept it in the video game industry, and a lot of y'all gamers aren't going to like it, and frankly, I'm guilty of this as well, but this is the truth. Because we're fucking addicts, okay? Video games like fucking drugs to us, and we'll do anything and everything we can for that sweet, sweet dopamine hit, not boycotting games, not making sure they don't fail, not picking things up on day one, not deciding to pre-order a fucking digital game. Why would you pre-order a digital game? You know it's going to goddamn be there. It's not like pre-ordering at the fucking GameStop or your local game store, where the whole reason to pre-order was because it could be out of fucking stock. You don't even get any sort of physical goodies with it if you pre-order it on fucking Steam. But gamers are fucking addicted, bro. They're fucking addicted. They want that next fucking hit. It's goddamn annoying. Like, and the reason studios get away with this, is because they know gamers will fucking pay for it. They know they'll accept it. Oh, they're gonna buy everything on day one, and accept 3 months later we'll give you a 32 gigabyte fucking patch to fix the fact that the multiplayer doesn't work. That's why gamers fucking do it. And we're all guilty of it, and we're all trying to be better about it. At least I hope y'all are. I certainly know I am. But let's be real, that's what it is. We have let these game industry fucks bend us over, go in raw, and we say, harder, daddy, and then we buy the next fucking game. They have trained us to do it, and we just keep letting it happen.
About it. Now, game publishers are starting to realize that their own practices are seriously sabotaging themselves. In a recent Q2 earnings call, Sega admitted what we've all known for some time. Players are becoming increasingly hesitant to buy games at launch. Despite...
I see a lot of pushback in the comments, which I expected. Obviously, this ain't fucking all of us. But let's be real. This is a majority of gamers TM. Otherwise, it wouldn't keep happening. We back? Are we back? Alright, seems like we're back. Okay, cool. I was about to throw a fucking fit, bro. I was like, yo, what is going on? Alright, give me one moment here. Alright, perfect. We're back. Anyway, as I was saying, yes, a lot of gamers... No, stream's back. Yeah, stream is back. A lot of fucking gamers are starting to fight back against it now. I see a lot of y'all in the comments talking about how you're fighting against it now. And good, I'm glad many of us are. But that is still 15 years of sabotage that we, the gamers, have let happen that needs to be undone and corrected. So needless to say, great. I'm glad we're on the right track now. We got a lot of fucking ground to make up.
Many of their new titles earning critical praise, they're falling short of commercial expectations because consumers wait instead of buying day one. We've lost confidence that the launch title is worth it. Nowhere close to a full, final, or best version of the game. And this shift is hitting bottom lines hard. I mean, who wants to pay top dollar to beta test for these companies? A Sega spokesperson said competition and high prices are part of the issue, but importantly, expectations of later definitive editions lead players to hold on to their money.
So wait. So what Sega is stating is that they know we're just gonna put out a better version in 2 years and they'll wait for that. That's fucking hilarious. Because you got people that play the Pokemon games, you know, Fire Red, Leaf Green, or maybe not, but like Red and Blue, and then they would also buy fucking Yellow, or Sapphire, Ruby, then they would also buy Emerald. But like, I'm guilty of this with a Sega game, specifically Persona 5, right? Really, all the Persona games do this. You know, I got Persona 5, Vanilla, the original version. Then several years later, not only did I get Persona 5 Royal, I sprung for the Ultimate Super Collector's Deluxe Edition. Now, to be fair, there was a lot of merch in that bitch that I wanted. It was more for the merch than the game, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, yeah, how many fucking times have they redone The Last of Us? 3, 4, 5, however many times? It's 3, 4, 5 too fucking many. That's actually, I'm legit surprised about this sort of honesty.
Away for another day. Now, if a game is likely to get an expanded re-release or a steep discount, we just chill, man. A sale is coming. A full game will happen eventually. And with
all right, Unc Jita, I'm gonna have to ask you a favor going forward. Don't fucking come in and spoil death battles. I like to react to death battles. There's no point in reacting to it now because now I know the ending. Thanks, man. Don't do that shit again.
With backlogs, subscription services, and a litany of classics to appreciate, why wouldn't we? Now, other industries aren't immune to this practice. Films get remasters, music get deluxe editions, but see, here's the main difference. Those happen because the originals were beloved, fully realized, and complete.
Well, not only that, but in terms of like film and music and stuff, like if you've got a movie that was made in 1979 and then it comes in and you get like a 4K re-release in 2017, it's only being visually optimized and physically, I guess, optimized as well to play on like modern hardware and whatnot. People might not have access to a laser disc or a VHS or whatever from that time. So it's a little bit different. Same with music. Oftentimes, you get a greatest hits release, or people re-record their stuff to re-record the audio with modern day audio recording techniques. In terms of video games, man, 9 times out of 10, these remasters aren't necessary. Now, there's some that are. I like remasters that, if you're not going to put the original version on modern hardware, you're going to give us an HD remaster instead. All right, that's by and large fine. But only after years upon years to where the tech has notably changed. It's a little bit different than like The Last of Us being on PS3 and then immediately being on PS4 and then immediately being on PS fucking 5.
Classics. Now, gaming used to work the same way. Game of the Year editions arrived well after release. After the game earned critical and commercial success, they felt purposeful, not...
Game of the Year editions also had something the originals didn't have, which usually was all DLC included.
Predatory. Nowadays, it's damn near expected that a big title will re-release in an upgraded form. A foregone conclusion. Publishers have leaned into this twofer strategy to the maximum. They'll sell a game at full price, usually in a pitiful state, then a year or two later sell it again as complete or definitive with all added content bundled in. Not a bad choice for players that get lured, but it also trains everyone to wait. Example, Atlas's many recent reissues. Persona and Shin Megami are adored for many, many reasons, but
I'm about to feel personally attacked by this video, aren't I? I'm about to get fucking assaulted by a black man on stream.
let's be real, guys. Re-release fatigue is crazy here. They follow the same pattern. Vanilla version, then a later improved version with extra content. Resold to you at full price. Persona pulled this shit with 5 in 2017 and Royal in 2019.
They also pulled this shit with Persona 3 and Persona 4. In fact, they double dipped on Persona 3 because they sold the vanilla version. Then they sold the upgrade extended version. Then it just recently got a remake. And now they're also remaking Persona 4. All of this before we get Persona 6, by the way. Yep, I'm feeling real fucking called out right now.
Now listen, I loved 5, but I refuse to buy Royal and replay everything. It's way too long. I started...
Man, nah, okay, that's a terrible fucking reason. Okay? Royal, yes, it's a long game, but it's consistently good all the way through. What do you mean? Like, it's a fucking JRPG. It's like a 120-hour JRPG. 80 hours, if you are really good at Persona, if you could speedrun that bitch like a motherfucker, you might be able to do it in 80 hours. That's being generous. But, like, Persona 5 Royal adds plenty of new content. Again, if you don't want to buy it because you're against the idea of, like, remasters and you think that's a cheap cash grab, I totally get that. But the length of time that it takes to play the game, to me, that's a retarded reason not to buy a game.
Playing SMT5 back in 2021 when it dropped on the Nintendo Switch. I loved the gameplay, but the story and the graphics / the performance were pitiful. And the story felt unfinished, completely. Turns out, it was. I got to the last dungeon and checked out so hard, I just never even finished it. After like 45 hours of work. Come 2024, I saw the release of SMT5 Vengeance with a Vengeance storyline that fleshes the tale out, as well as adds additional systems and layers that frankly should have been there upon release. It's one thing if the original product is incredible, fully realized, fans love it so much that they just can't get enough. It's another entirely when it feels broken and barren, like you're being punished for supporting the game in the first place.
I mean, he's got a point. Like, what's the game? There's a recent game. Fucking Metroid, right? Bro, Metroid paywalled music. They fucking paywalled music, dude. Are you out your goddamn mind? You paywalled the fucking background music for the open world aspect of the game. That is some shit that should be in there from the jump. And I swear to Christ, if in 4 years we get Metroid Prime 4 Definitive Edition, background music for the desert included, go fuck yourself. You absolute loser, traitorous pieces of shit.
That's crazy to me. And speaking of punishment, I bought SMT5 Vengeance on deep sale and have thought about playing through it the entire way through again, the right way. So if you'd like to see that video, make sure you let me know. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below by the time that you regret it.
So he mentions he bought it on deep sale and that made it worth it. I can agree with that. So like, let's go back to my Persona 5 Royal example. I would not have bought Royal, the deluxe edition or anything, like, if it was just the game. Like, I've played the original Persona 5. I love the original Persona 5. Royal would not have been a high priority purchase for me, but I wanted all the physical collector stuff. Like, I wanted that Joker mask right behind me, right? I wanted that Joker mask. I wanted the art book. I wanted the CD of the soundtrack that came with it. It was all for the physical collector shit that made it worth it. The game itself, if it was just that, I 100% would have waited for ages until I ended up buying it and going through it.
Buying a game out the gate. But yeah, it's hard for fans to not just assume the first version isn't worth it. And 99% of the time, they're basically right. The real question...
You want to know who did the right? He mentioned Sega at the beginning of this, how Sega was like, oh, definitive editions and stuff to that effect. Ironically enough, Sega's the one that handled this the right way. Sega handled this the correct way with Sonic Frontiers. The definitive edition, which, came out like a year later, was free. Like, if you had the original game, because they completely overhauled the third act of the game. They completely overhauled the entire third act, plus added a bunch of extra content. And it was fucking free. Like, that's... If you're gonna do shit like that... Now, if you want to add... Like, the fact they overhauled the third act, they could have sold that as a DLC, and there was that much new content. We're talking hours upon hours of new content. They could have paid for that, and I would have bought it. You tell me, 10? But maybe even $20? Yeah, that's how much they added. They released that shit for fucking free! I ain't ever gonna bitch about free upgrades and shit like that.
Is this Street Fighter's fault? Now, in 1991, Capcom dropped one of the most important video games of all time, Street Fighter II: The World Warrior. The original arcade release had many of the iconic characters we know and love in their most iconic forms. It was a major hit, a true phenomenon. 1992's Champion Edition was its first major update, adding all 4 boss characters, mirror matches, and some limited reworking of stages and art. Hyperfighting was a small change that made a huge difference, a response to the modified bootlegs of Champion Edition coming a mere 8 months after it.
To be fair, this was necessary. Like, Street Fighter 2, again, hyper fighting, I think in different regions it was called Turbo, because I always known as Street Fighter 2 Turbo. But either way, this was necessary. For those that don't know the history, the lore here, the Street Fighter arcade machines were getting hacked and resold at to like not to retailers, but to like places that would have these these arcade machines, and the hacked versions were ridiculously faster. Now, they were also broken. Like, you could spam the entire screen with Hadokens and shit. Like, it was not balanced. It was fucked up. One of the Capcom execs, because Capcom wanted this shit under wraps. They wanted this shit shut the fuck down. And so one of the Capcom execs went to find and try one of these cabinets, and he was disgusted by it. He was disgusted by what they did to the game. But then when he went back to play the original version of Street Fighter 2, the ones they developed, he realized it did feel slow. He described it as like playing the game underwater. So by them revamping the game to make it more in line with these hacked bootleg versions, but still keeping it actually balanced and competitive, this was a superior product. I think a re-release like this is necessary. Catch you later, Jack. Johnny with a 5-banger says, here's the good content. My man with a plan. I appreciate you, you absolute legend. So here's to making fun of blacks.
I know now that it could never work between us. Not because you're a rabbit, but because you're black.
That's good content, right? That's good content. You'll love to see it.
Game increased the speed a lot, added some minor move tweaks, and even some color scheme changes. Then came 1993's The New Challengers, with Fei Long and company in tow, plus upgraded graphics and sound. Finally, Super Turbo in 1994 became the consensus definitive version. adding super combos, new moves, and the man Akuma himself. Now look, we all know what Street Fighter II was. It's one of the video games, right up there with stuff like, Mario 3, Tetris, and Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay. I was going to give him shit for saying Mario 3 instead of Super Mario Bros. World, but he threw in Sonic, so all is forgiven.
None of us cared back then all that much because of how good and vital this game was, even though I'm sure arcade owners absolutely grumbled about constantly having to upgrade their software and their hardware. But we can't pretend it didn't lay the blueprint for a business practice the industry has greedily iterated on ever since. Now, y'all know I'm a big music fan and a former rapper. Rap was my first love in music, and I gotta tell y'all a story.
Is anybody surprised by that? Just show of hands who was surprised by that fact. Okay.
1994's Illmatic, an all-time classic, may have started a trend that has plagued rap music ever since. Because before Nas dropped his opus, it was not uncommon for rap albums to be one DJ, one MC. The DJ producer brought the sounds, the feel, and the MC, well, they rapped. Famous duos
Rainbow
like
Nation, you're correct,
Gangstar,
Otaku.
Pete Rock and CL Smooth, even Will and Jazzy Jeff. But Nas decided he'd have as many producers as he needed. Pete Rock, Premier, Buckwild, Q-Tip. Whoever he needed, whoever he felt could bring that sound, he brought on. And while Illmatic is often cited as the best album in the genre, it inadvertently sparked a chain reaction, pushing rappers towards that producer per song approach that now make many modern rap albums sound more like compilations than cohesive.
Honestly, I would 100% agree. I know this isn't about video games, but like as somebody does a lot with music, he used to do a lot more music, he is 100% correct about this. He is absolutely 100% correct about this, and it is a detriment to the genre.
Musical statements. And ironically, Nas has been on an absolute tear with one producer for a while now, with a new one coming soon with Primo. Metro Boomin may have been right, and maybe, just maybe, gaming has to jump off the train that one of its giants set into motion inadvertently decades ago. Now, the shift in consumer behavior isn't just anecdotal, it's reflected in the sales data. Sega's analysis of recent titles showed exactly this, and that even when a game gets glowing reviews, sales can stall post-launch because value-conscious players sit on the sidelines. We talked about Atlus's biggest show ponies, but we didn't mention their latest property, Metaphor ReFantazio. Now, it sold an impressive 1 million copies on release day, a record debut for Sega, but then momentum slowed dramatically, hitting only 2 million.
I mean, to be fair, this is a pretty niche kind of game. Like, look, I love the Persona series. I can't wait to get into Metaphor. I'm going to be breaking into that real soon, actually. Yeah, because I have it. I just haven't gotten to it yet, but I'm doing a few things to a couple Persona games right now, and then once I've got those unlocked, I'm jumping into Metaphor. But, like, I would not say that this is stalled or whatnot. I would wager this is a pretty normal number of sales for a game like this. Like, how many copies did Persona 5 Royal sell? All right, 7.5 million. Let's do this. In the first year. Persona 5 Royal sold approximately 1.3 million copies in the first year after its initial release. And that was 2020. Now it's sold 7 million since then, which is good. Let's see how much the original sold in the first year. Sold 2.7 million copies worldwide in the first year, right? And it topped 3.2 million sales by 2019. So, like, yeah, numbers like this, I'd say that's pretty normal. Like, these are JRPGs like this are, especially this sort, they're still relatively niche. I mean, I love them. I'm glad they're still coming out, but they're pretty niche. What's another? Yeah, let's compare it to something like, oh man, what's the Octopath Traveler? How many copies did Octopath Traveler sell in the first year? 1.5 million copies. All right, what about the sequel? Sold even less. Over 1 million copies. Oh, within its first 3.5 months. First year isn't explicitly stated in the results. Okay. The first year. All right. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know why we would consider these bad numbers. This seems to be on par with the general 4 motherfuckers that stand in a line, format.
After 6 months. Now, that's a massive drop. By Sega's own admission, this sharper drop might be because a segment of the audience is waiting for a definitive edition. Even a hotly anticipated game can see its tail sales undercut by the specter of a future better deal. Back to Persona. The original Persona 5 sold millions and won awards, but a big portion of the franchise's growth happened after Persona 5 Royal, the enhanced re-release. Now, Royal added new characters, storylines, and gameplay improvements, making it the ultimate version.
I could be wrong. I also don't know if the original was available on Steam. On Steam at launch. Yeah, so that could be another reason for the disparity. I didn't think it was. Persona 5 wasn't on Steam. Persona 5 Royal was, not until 2022, but it still was. So, like, that's going to, of course, increase sales numbers. So, I mean, we can't say for certain that it's just like, oh, people are waiting for these definitive editions. They also might just be waiting for it to come to a platform that they have.
In its first year, Royal sold about 1.03 million copies. But over time, it exploded in popularity. As of 2025, Persona 5 Royal alone has sold 7.25 million copies worldwide. Combined with the original.
Right, but again, Persona 5 Royal is the exception, not the rule. Most of these kinds of games don't do these kinds of numbers. Like, again, this is a very niche, like, okay, he mentioned Shin Megami Tensei. How many copies of Shin Megami Tensei 5 sold in the first year? Dude, Shin Megami Tensei 5 sold over 800,000 copies. It surpassed 1 million by April 2022. Alright, so it sold over 1 million in about 6 months. Now, Vengeance reached over 2 million by mid-2025. Like, again, these sorts of games, like these how many people even know that Persona 5, the Persona series, at this point, how many people even know that it's a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei? Like, I would imagine that Persona's grown into its own brand at this point. So, yeah, these sorts of games, by and large, are niche. Persona 5 Royal's explosion is the exception, not the rule.
Persona 5, in all versions, has passed well over 10 million sold. And notably, a huge portion of those sales happened after the definitive edition launched. That's consumer conditioning in action. Sega execs now openly worry that Persona 5 Royal-style re-releases have trained their fan base to delay purchases. Now, this might work with giants like Persona, but smaller games just can't survive it. Many get their budgets cut, never hit sales targets, and never get the follow-through they were promised. Now, Anthem is a modern poster child of the...
All right, legit honest question. Legit honest question. Yo, somebody go tag Atreus on X and ask him this. Why the fuck do I only ever hear black dudes talk about Anthem? I ain't ever heard a goddamn white dude. I ain't ever heard a fucking Latino. I ain't ever heard a fucking Asian. Any of them talk about Anthem. Like, did like every other race just miss the memo on that fucking game?
this. Launched buggy and undercooked. Player base evaporated. BioWare's big overhaul plan was canceled entirely. A disastrous cautionary tale for one of gaming's biggest studios. Its short-term greed killed long-term success. We see similar patterns everywhere. You got Square Enix, Bethesda, Warner Bros. I mean, Mortal Kombat 11 dropped in 2019, but many fans waited until 2020's MK11 Ultimate.
People didn't wait because they knew an Ultimate Edition would be coming. They waited because this game was fucking ass out the gate. Like, let's be real. That's why people waited on Mortal Kombat 11, because it was ass out the gate. Not because they knew an Ultimate Edition would be coming.
Which bundled every character and expansion. Forums and social media are filled with this same damn sentiment.
Looks cool. I'll grab it once the complete edition is out.
The industry trained us to think that way. Just real talk. Now, it's not just definitive editions causing gamers to lose faith. It's the state of those launched themselves. In the
Okay, here we go. Now we finally gonna be talking about some real shit. These games launching like ass, bro.
last few years, so many high-profile games have launched in rough, unfinished states. It's bad when your early adopters feel burned. Now, everyone knows about Cyberpunk 2077. Years of hype, massive promises. Then it released in 2020 with so many bugs and performance issues, especially on consoles, that Sony delisted it from the PlayStation Store, delisted from the biggest console marketplace. Wild. Even the creators of The Witcher 3 weren't immune. CD Projekt Red openly admitted their reputation took a massive hit. Their CEO literally said there's a perception of the company that may never return. I think Cyberpunk has earned back a lot of goodwill, but that trust can vanish even faster next time. When a studio known for quality can fall from grace overnight, it sends a message to everyone. And Cyberpunk isn't even alone. You got Battlefield 2042, No Man's Sky at launch,
Bruh. I was a No Man's Sky at launch motherfucker. I had been hyping up No Man's Sky for what felt like years. Like, literally, like, at least 2 years. Maybe longer. Maybe not quite as long, but somewhere in that realm, bro. No Man's Sky was like, that was like a wet dream of a game. I was fucking scouring message boards. I was all over the internet. Just like any little bit of extra info I could get on the development process of No Man's Sky. And then day one, I played it with my, at the time, girlfriend. It was like our second date, actually. Our second date was playing No Man's Sky together. We played it for like an hour and a half, thought this shit sucked, fucked, and then went to bed. I returned it the next day. Never played it since. Now, to be fair, I'm very happy with where the game is now, and I'm glad for everybody that's playing it now. And maybe one day I'll get back into it, because I do like how well they have returned the favor to the grace of the gamers. They've 100% earned back everything that they've took from the players initially. But fucking hell, man, that day one No Man's Sky, shit broke me. And then my dumbass fell for day one Fallout 76, literally months later. By the way, that was what kept me from like no more day ones. No Man's Sky, and then just a few months later, Fallout 76, I was finished. I was fucking finished. The only time I would buy day one after that was for a Resident Evil game. It's because I need to get Resident Evil. Like, I need to review it and talk about it on like the forum sites and stuff. And at the time, Resident Evil was still like had potential and shit. Fuck me, man. By the way, Fallout 76 is good now too. I've put a lot of time in Fallout 76 since it got fixed. Since it got better, Fallout 76 is fucking awesome. But fucking hell, man.
Wars Jedi Survivor, countless others. It feels like every month another AAA game launches with missing features, game-breaking bugs, or raw, unfinished live service elements. Each fiasco chips away at consumer confidence, slowly killing the industry. Players are tired of paying $60 to $70 for what feels like early access. Tired.
Was this girlfriend that couldn't... Oh. Okay, so, no. Paul, what he's referring to is I have an out-of-context clip where I said at the time I had a girlfriend, I said the quote, my girlfriend couldn't come with me to the con. And they just clipped it to where it sounds like I say my girlfriend couldn't come. But the full sentence I say in that fucking stream is my girlfriend couldn't come with me to the con. I was talking about going to a fucking convention. So, yes, no, he's not... It's fucking fake news. There's a stream out there. You can watch it. You can see the full context. They fucking Donald Trump me. These clippers are like the goddamn BBC and I'm their personal Donald Trump. Clipping bullshit that I didn't say. Out of context. Mashing shit together. Fucking figs.
Of waiting for months of patches. Tired of being unpaid QA testers in this economy, bro. And this erosion of trust connects directly to greedy practices. Why are so many games shipping unfinished? Because publishers want to recoup massive budgets as soon as possible, or they want to hit a holiday release window, even if the quality suffers. And then there's the double dip angle. Launch the bare bones content, sell the rest later as paid DLC that might even already be on the disc.
Bro, how far back he want? If we want to talk about shit already being on the disc, bro, in the PS3 days, no, we gotta talk. I'm still not over this, okay? It's been almost 20 years. Almost 20 years, I'm still not over this. Back in the PS3 days, DLC, you want to know what that stood for, motherfuckers? You youngins in the chat that might not know. DLC stood for Disc-Locked Content. Disc-Locked Content. Resident Evil 5, every bit of DLC for Resident Evil 5 was on the fucking disc. When you paid for the DLC for Resident Evil 5, you were just unlocking shit that was already on there. Pretty sure Skyrim worked the same way. Now, I've never played Skyrim, so I don't fucking know, but I'm pretty sure I heard the same thing. Like, at least people don't buy fucking physical games anymore if they have that shit locked on the disc. Fucking hell, dude. Oh, that burns me up. Which girlfriend was the No Man's Sky date? This is gonna sound terrible. I don't remember her name. I don't remember what she looked like, but I don't remember her name. You know how I've told you the story about the girl I went on the first date with, and I was when I was still in the police academy, and I said that we were just talking about like plans for the future and whatnot, and I said that after the police academy, my plan was to potentially move to Colorado to be a park ranger, and like she said, oh yeah, I'd move to Colorado with you, and like I immediately was like, holy fuck, that's a red flag. We don't even fucking know each other, and she's already saying she'd move to a different fucking state with me. Like, it was worrisome, but we had really good sex. So, like, that one. I wish I remember her fucking name. I'm such an asshole. I don't remember this broad's name. I remember she dressed up as Harley Quinn, though. I do remember that. Yeah, I dodged a bullet. 100% dodged a bullet. Fuck, what was her name? It doesn't matter.
Oh, but this basically don't do shit anymore anyway, so. But look, players aren't dumb. They notice when a game is deliberately sliced up to...
Oh yeah, absolutely still smashed. Absolutely still smashed. And I played it smooth too. Like, I played it smooth. So, first date, right? We went out for dinner. Now, I used to drink far more heavily than I do now. I used to drink far more heavily. And so I was like, all right, after dinner, I know I'm going to invite her to my place. So I need to buy some alcohol. And I saw this fucking, like, frilly, like, coffee sort of alcoholic bottle, which is not something I would normally ever drink. I think that's just disgusting. But it was called Hot Sex. So after we got back to my apartment after the dinner, I went around the counter. I pulled the bottle out of the brown paper bag, but I didn't show her what it said. So I just looked at her. I was like, yo, you want to have some hot sex? And she looked at me, and I showed her the fucking bottle. She laughed. We had a few drinks. Then we had some hot sex.
Maximize revenue later. Needless to say, it leaves a bad taste. Why buy now when the complete version, fully patched, fully featured, will eventually exist for cheaper? As an electronic musician for well over 2 decades, I've been dealing with this bullshit in my own world for a long, long time. Some companies make you pay for an annual upgrade pass just to keep your plugins or even your DAW functional.
All right, I don't do fucking music editing and shit like that like he's talking about, but I had this problem with fucking editing software, dude. I loathe this. So I pay a yearly subscription fee for my editing software, and then you have to pay a monthly fee on top of the yearly fucking fee. It is absolute bullshit, but I need it for this fucking job. Like, you telling me I have to pay like $120 a year for the software, which is fine. $120 a year for the editing software is fine. But then an additional, it's like $5 a month for all like the plugins and shit. So really, it's not $120 a year. It's $160 or something a year. It's fucking bullshit.
Others play that game and release a 2.0 and make you pay again, even after suggesting upgrades were free for life. They get around it by renaming the plugin.
Yeah, 180. Thank
like
you. 180.
XL becomes XXL, or just straight up fibbing.
I was thinking
But
60
some
more.
companies,
But yeah,
some
180.
companies, they get it right. Neuro gives personal discounts based on prior purchases. Cubase gives you upgraded paths based on the versions you already own, and discounts depending on how recently you upgraded. I think that's pretty smart. This at least feels better even if other companies don't charge for upgrades at all. And shout out to my homies over at Clevgrand, this is not sponsored, who provide bundle prices based on entirely what plugins you already own. Now this is huge. This is smart.
I
They
know,
let you
Kid
buy
Flash.
what you want
I
without-
said 160 because I was thinking $60 more a year, and so I said 160, said 180. Yeah, I was just slipping the tongue. I'm just retarded.
double paying. One of the shittiest parts of DLC is knowing a bundle is coming later with everything included, but no discount for what you already own. PlayStation even locks you out from buying full bundles when you already own a portion. Imagine a world.
Dude, I found this out recently. On Steam? Dude, on Steam, some bundles you can't gift. Dude, Old Man Cad was wanting the Horizon Zero Dawn Collector's Bundle. And I was like, I'm gonna be a good dude. I'm gonna gift it to him. You can't. Dude, I didn't know that Steam didn't let you gift bundles for certain ones. It just straight up isn't a gift option. You have to gift the games individually.
Where you could buy with confidence. Try the
And
content
you're technically
you
right,
want
Kid Flash.
first and purchase the rest at a relevant discount later on. Reward your early adopters. Don't punish them with FOMO-loaded pre-lux editions that give you an outfit and some items you're gonna get anyway. Reward them with meaningful expansions. Reward them with fair upgrade paths. Consider launching games cheaper so that when the DLC lands, the full experience totals $70 instead of $100 plus over 2 years.
Oh, and here's another thing. Not only is what he's talking about correct, but I'm gonna say another thing. If you're gonna give pre-order bonuses and shit, like pre-order bonus, pre-order this to get this download, you know, extra skins or whatnot, don't make that shit available a year later. What's the fucking point of pre-ordering? Like for real. If you're just going to put the pre-order bonus on the fucking DLC shop for $2 or $5 or whatever a year later, fuck that. If I'm pre-ordering something because I want the pre-order bonus, there's an aspect of exclusivity I want. Fuck you, dude. It's not a pre-order bonus at that point.
Years. Or go the indie route. Expedition 33 is on track to sweep awards left and right, and deservedly so.
Yo. Hypno emojis in chat, everybody, because Hypno gonna have to pay Smash. And it pains me to say that. It pains me to say that because, you know, I'm always gonna take my boy Hypno's side as long as he's right. And he frequently is. But Smash was correct on this one from day one. Expedition 33 winning game of the year. Hundo.
Launching at $40, this was a complete game on day one. A couple bugs didn't really matter. Players praised it anyway. Sandfall Interactive earned goodwill and sales, with lifetime performance only rising. Free DLC coming, ecosystem building, sequels, and spinoffs are highly likely. They're doing it right. And y'all know, I go hard for Supergiant. I own Hades on 3 consoles, bro. I own Celeste on 3 as well. I own Slay the Spire on 3 or 4, and on and on and on. These games brought you something complete right from the jump. And they used early access smartly, letting you know what you're getting. I'll buy these games anywhere just to show my support. And yes, I own the vinyl for all of them. I think the Expedition 33 one's on its way, hopefully, at some point. But if you're a big dev, learn from FromSoft and CDPR, despite some of their missteps. Bloodborne is one of my favorite games ever. Vanilla Bloodborne is complete and fully realized, but bro.
Yeah, I've never played a FromSoft game, but like as a casual observer from the outside, I can absolutely say they release complete, full functional experiences out the gate. Anything after, icing on the cake, baby, cherry on top. Good. It's how this shit should be fucking done, son. Like, I respect the fuck out of FromSoft, even though they ain't my kind of game.
Oh, that DLC? Come on. The old Hunters is worth $100. It was $20. And the Game of the Year edition launched cheaper than buying both separately. So, even if you already owned it, you didn't feel like you were getting hosed. I mean, look at Elden Ring support. Legendary. Dark Souls DLC? Essential. The Witcher 3 gave free updates plus massive, reasonably priced expansions, even after a 100+ hour base game.
I'll be real, man. I didn't get into The Witcher 3 until the Game of the Year edition came out, and I got into it, and that shit fucking sucked. On console. I've been told to replay it on PC. That's the way to play it, and it's good. But on console? Bro, fuck this game. Fuck The Witcher 3. Dude, The Witcher 3 fucking blows. Clunky-ass controls. Doesn't play particularly well. It's average as fuck. All these different key bindings and shit jammed into a controller with like 16 buttons that it clearly was made for PC, where you can macro a bunch of shit on the keyboard. Fuck this game, bro. I've heard it's good. Like, on the PC. And I should play it. And maybe someday I will. But I will never forget how much I fucking hate this game on PS4 when the Game of the Year edition came out.
Honestly, that goodwill might be the only reason they survived Cyberpunk and bounced back. And if you are gonna screw up, learn from Hello Games. No Man's Sky promised the universe and delivered barely a planet. But you know what? They fixed it. They ate the crow and they fixed it. They rebuilt the game piece by piece, year after year. And today, it's legitimately worthy of its original premise and promise. They earned that respect back by clawing it back. The past decade in gaming makes one thing abundantly clear. Greedy strategies can gut even the most promising game, whereas player-first strategies can elevate studios to beloved status. We've seen franchises like Mass Effect, Diablo, Star Wars, and Fallout take massive hits because publishers prioritized short-term monetization over long-term quality.
Now, here's the thing, though. While I agree with him in principle, motherfuckers still bought this shit and still ate it up. Why? Because my original premise at the beginning of this video. It's a very fucking weird screenshot to be paused on. Anyway, motherfuckers ate this shit up and bought it anyway because they knew they could get away with it. Because these developers fucking knew they could get away with it. Now, again, you can only keep repeating this process so long until people check the fuck out. But let's not pretend this trend is over. We're still going to see a whole lot of this. We need a whole lot more motherfuckers to stop buying this garbage.
These decisions come from pressure to hit quarterly targets or maximize lifetime value per user.
Not just that. Not just that, it also comes with the knowledge that unlike back in like the Dreamcast days, the PS2 days, the N64, the PS1, the fucking NES and the SNES and shit, you couldn't just patch in an update. That shit had to be completed, packaged, and sold as is, because people weren't connecting to the internet and just getting more content or free updates or even paid updates or whatnot. There was an expectation of a finished quality product, because that might be your only fucking shot. Like, modern technology and the way people use modern technology have absolutely been a contributing factor, maybe even the main contributing factor into why these asshole corpos think they can, and oftentimes are correct in the thinking, that they can get away with this shit. Like, imagine, you know good goddamn well that the way that, not Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor launched, Jedi Survivor wouldn't have fucking launched like that if it were back on the PS2.
Classic corporate motives that undermine the foundation of sustainable success. As a result, we now have a mountain of cautionary tales. Perfect material for a video titled, How Greed Gutted Gaming, or whatever the fuck I end up naming this. From BioWare's fall with Anthem, to Bethesda's missteps with Fallout 76, to the revolving door of definitive editions that make...
Look, Fallout 76 was shit at launch. It was. I mean, I said it linked earlier how bad it was at launch, how much I hate it. But I will also say, I wouldn't lump it in with these other examples. Fallout 76 was trying to do something different and unique, and there was a good idea there. And just the execution was terrible. Like, Fallout 76 didn't launch with the idea of, let's sell you this baseline shitty version, and then give you some super upgrade version several years later. Like some of these other games he's talking about did. Fallout 76 had this idea of, here's this immersive experience with no NPCs, that way you guys can effectively build the world of Fallout in this MMO-style canon event. It just didn't work.
Persona fans feel like they're being sold the same game twice. There's no shortage of examples, but there's a hopeful counterpoint. Studios proving that integrity, transparency, and putting players first is not only morally right, it's profitable. Look at the runaway success of Baldur's Gate 3, a polished, complete, content-rich game with no strings attached. And millions of players rewarded
right.
Larian
Absolutely
for it.
right.
The applause for Larian, the praise for Insomniac, Sandfall, and Supergiant, the loyalty CDPR once enjoyed and is slowly rebuilding. These all reinforce one single truth. Treat your audience well, and they will support you. Don't try to pull the wool over their eyes. Because gamers are passionate. We really are. We will hype you up when you respect us, and we will kick your damn ass if you don't. As we move forward, the North American market and the industry at large will continue wrestling with this balance. Monetization isn't going away. DLC isn't going away. But smarter companies are learning to balance revenue with respect. And the
Mr. Kruger, I'm truly curious if that's a joke or not. Baldur's Gate 3 is great if you love role-playing. You mean the Dungeons and Dragons role-playing game is great if you love yeah. I would agree with you. That is 10 out of 10 factual statement. I don't know what the fuck it means in this context, because, yes, I would think that the Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game would be great if you love role-playing. But, alright, catch you later, Fried Monkey. Have a good rest of your night, brother.
evidence is stacking up. Greedflation? Nah, bro. Endless editions, half-baked launches, and predatory microtransactions have real negative effects on sales and your game's longevity. Sega is just the first to publicly admit.
No, I get that you're not joking. I was just confused by the sentiment. Like, I don't know. It was just a strange comment to make. I guess is all I'm getting at. It's like, I would hope that it offers lots of outcomes for replayability. Right. That's again because it's D&D. Like it's D&D just as a video game instead of a tabletop game. That's what it should be. I just don't know if it's worth praising it doing what it should as a baseline do. Like if it didn't offer that, then there would definitely be cause for concern because it's a fucking D&D game. But it's like, oh yeah, you did your job properly. I don't know. It was just funny to me is all.
Admit it like this. Now, greed may boost earnings short term, but it also breeds backlash that kills long-term growth. Stand up, y'all. Show them. Sometimes with our anger and sometimes with our wallets. They'll listen.
Always times with both. Always vote with your wallet and always angry vote with your wallet. Not only do you not buy the game, but you go on X or on message boards or the fucking GameStop or on just like the real fucking world, make YouTube videos, whatever, and talk about how much you hate this absolute fucking bullshit. Vote angry, talk angry, fuck these corpos.
They'll have to, or they'll wither away on the vine, and we'll go back to that.
And Daxnar, you were 100% wrong. It did not do a whole lot right in terms of adapting mechanics. No, Baldur's Gate 3 actually sucks in that regard. Because it uses 5th edition mechanics, and 5th edition is fucking retarded. 5th edition sucks cock. If you're gonna play Baldur's Gate 3, download the mod that puts it in 3.5 the way God fucking intended. Fuck 5th edition.
Massive backlog that'll take us all until our 98th birthday or so to finish anyway. We're watching, y'all. Thanks for watching. Who are some devs you trust with every purchase?
Oh, all right.
What would you
My
change in the industry these days? And before
Yeah,
you go,
the movie
check
did
out
great.
this
Yeah, the
video
movie was good.
about some of the issues that even plague our beloved.
All right, so this is a real good video, guys. This is a real good video. The gamers, the gamer Sician. I have no idea what this fucking name is. I think it's Gamer Sician. Either way, I'm leaving it in the chat. Like, Homie Absolute should get more support. 100%. I'm gonna subscribe to him and let's see if he does really good content. Ooh, terrifyingly good horror games. Suikoden 1 is way better than I did. Suikoden 1's great. 2 is better, though. Games Greed Epidemic, we just watched that one. Einhander. Man, this guy looks like he's got some good shit. The world needs your art more than ever. Oh, this might be a AI, anti-AI video. That one didn't do super hot. That's unfortunate. While you're probably too old for gaming. That seems like an ironic title. I ain't gonna hold that against him. That seems like an ironic title. Yeah. Yeah, drop this guy's link. Give him a watch. That was some good shit. That was definitely some good shit. Alrighty, crew. I'm already almost half an hour late for Nick's stream. So I'm going to set up the raid. We're going to go do that. There was one other thing I wanted to cover, but that can wait. Now, that being said, I got some announcements, so don't go nowhere. I got some announcements. Tomorrow, there's no tinfoil haters. But that doesn't mean I'm not streaming. Tomorrow, something very special, something auspicious is happening. And I'm going to show you all right now. We're going to give you all a sneak preview. Alright? Yeah, that was the very first topic, Tiger King. So, yeah, when the stream is finished, just go back. It's about the first 20 minutes. It takes up the first 20-ish minutes of the stream. Anyway, tomorrow at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, you know, my time, basically whatever time you normally watch Tinfoil Haters, hour before. Because me and Alec Baldwin's finger are doing the PC build stream, baby. Tomorrow, 6 o'clock Central Time, we doing the PC build stream. Yeah, it's finally happening. Finally happening. Tomorrow, 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. That's 7 o'clock Eastern Time. That's 4 o'clock in that gay-ass avocado fucking time. Me, Alec Baldwin's finger, We building the new rig, baby. I kept telling y'all the new rig was coming. Oh, it's here. So we're gonna stream the build tomorrow. So yeah, no tinfoil haters, because tomorrow was the only day. ABF's like, we can do it Tuesday or we can do it Thursday. I was like, we can't do it Thursday. He's like, why not? I was like, dude, the Game Awards are Thursday. I know we both gonna be streaming that shit. He's like, oh, fuck, you're right. So yeah, tomorrow, PC build stream, baby. We got griff, bitch. Because I need y'all's help paying that motherfucker off. I did it for y'all. I did it for y'all to bring y'all good content. Someone needs some help. That being said, so yeah, that's what's going down tomorrow. Videos and streams every day. Check out today's video if you haven't checked out today's video. Maybe it was yesterday's video. I think I put a video out today. Yesterday's video. Check out the gaming channel. I'll be able to do a whole lot more of that gaming channel once that bitch get built. Yeah, I made this for you! Exactly, Dax. Good reference. I know that reference. So yeah, all in all. And then Thursday, I don't know what time the Game Awards start, but we're not going to be doing a Leon's Lunch Hour Thursday because instead we're going to be streaming the Game Awards. So make sure to come to my channel for that. All of SNH is getting together to stream it, but we're all doing it on our own channels and we'll all still be together on each other's streams. So we're just doing this like big collab style thing. So y'all know the actual proper choice is to watch on my channel, not Hypno. Hypno gets all y'all guys anyway. Y'all watch Hypno all the time. So the Game Awards, you're going to be watching your boy here. You're going to be watching me. Fuck Hypno just this once. Fuck New Blackstreet. They don't need that shit. Kata doesn't even put out videos anymore. Kata fucking sucks. So anyway, those are the announcements. Let me set up the raid for Nick's show. Let me set up the raid for Nick's show right now. Let's see. And then we're going to go over there and we're going to give him a massive Vital Idol raid. It's Masculine Monday. So you know what we're doing. We are reviewing Lethal Weapon. Lethal motherfucking weapon. Review is, the stream is, the raid is set in place. So we outie like 4 circles. Thank you for those of you that don't know. Join the Discord, shit like that. And, yeah, I'll see you. It's all here in the Nerve Sphere, and this has been Words of Paradise.